He sold it to a gal from. Sometimes he was in contact.
And I told her that I had to cut it short, but I wasn't.
We have to try to wear it the right way. You know what's the wrong, how it's built off is, with the culvert, a lot of water. First time you get it back, it's washed out. I think it was. Nice to the station, where the view is. You just go over the so if you put it down, well, it went wrong.
Is there a wedding date?
Both of us, buddy.
Both resign. Done. Hi, Kathy.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah, Robin came up with a couple meetings ago.
My friend said he wanted to do something. The big thing is to get a well broken. Right. Put a pretty deep driveway.
Yeah, you would have to believe that.
Yeah.
How are you? Not bad, yourself?
I was any better at being the items, but I'm not, so I'm gonna make the best of it.
I like the idea of that, though.
Oh, yeah, they're on 50 head.
I didn't think it was too bad when I rolled it up and then.
How are you?
Yeah, I had to stop it and did some.
Did you read? No? Oh, thanks.
Some are pretty.
That's just so you can see what I'm going to be saying here. Oh, no, that's not you at all.
Oh my God, no. I like one. 1.0.
Oh,
Oh, I was like,
you heard that too, right?
no, he's talking about glasses. We have a 1.0 what?
Because my memory, it's like, it'd be gone 5 minutes.
I'll let you give your own pen since you're covered now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was thinking.
we'll probably get you a match. Unless you, well, start with option one, if you can get the adjustment.
I know, I heard it.
No, it's not 2
We
a.m.
got many 90-year-olds left.
We do, really?
You can make the adjustment of payment for 5 years, it'll be a lot better.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. So it increases your payment.
So it's time, isn't it? It is. And we're on, we're live. Okay.
But it takes like 20. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Well, longevity in this area.
call the meeting to order. It's 6:01. First up on the agenda is modifications to the agenda. We have no modifications. We'll move on to approval of meeting minutes first, up December 1st, 2025. Anybody have any suggested revisions, additions?
If not, I make a motion that we approve the December 1st meeting minutes.
I have some adjustments that need to be made.
Okay.
You have some wrong dates in there. When Sue asked Marcel to explain the argument, there was, it's on page, almost near the end. He said there was $75,000 that happened in the beginning of 2026 that were expenses incurred in the end of 2025. We need to have 2025 and 2024.
Good catch.
Okay. Get that, Dana? Or, no, I guess
This would
Will's
be
gotta get it.
me. I just gotta find it. Oh, yep, there we are. On to the second page, 25 and 24. Uh-huh.
Any others? Okay. So you wanna,
Make a motion that we approve the December 1st meeting minutes with the revised dates.
okay? Okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes for December 1st as revised, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm voting aye back here.
Okay. December 8th. Suki isn't here tonight, is she? I should have contacted her, I guess. I was, the last sentence, under citizens' concerns, the last sentence of Suki's comments, maybe, I might be wrong. I didn't think she said that the roof doesn't have enough structural support to handle high snow and wind loads.
That was a quote I took directly from the recording of the meeting.
Okay,
So,
well, if it's a direct quote, then I guess this won't change it, but I'm not sure that it may not meet today's, if you were designing it for today, it might not meet the new requirements, but anyways, that's what she said.
So under that same bullet, Will, under the time clock issue, I think that the words extensive research should be removed because I don't actually know how much it was researched by Gary or Mike. And if I said that, then I spoke out of line because I don't know what they actually looked into.
okay, so you want to strike extensive and,
research.
and just
Or
leave it
at
as
least extensive, yeah.
strike extensive?
Yeah, because
All right.
I honestly don't remember why we stopped investigating. I don't remember what was found that had them placated and not look anymore.
Strike through.
Okay. Any other changes? Not? Entertain a motion?
I think I can, even though I wrote them. I'll move to accept the meeting minutes as amended.
And I will second that.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes of December 8th as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Will, you'll send the revised ones to Gavin?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is fire truck financing.
Sure. So the bill has come due and we anticipate delivery at the end of this month or beginning of February. So we went out to get proposals from 3 local banks. And the best option that came in was from Pacific Savings Bank, which currently holds our account. I would advocate that we take the 5-year payment option. It's a 4.58% rate. So the payment would be $62,782.42 a year. So along with that, I would like the board to entertain revising their approved budget to move from the $51,000 payment that is currently in the budget to the $62,000 payment to accommodate the proposal. So that would increase the fire department's budget to 192,482.42. And it would increase the overall budget to 1,681,550.80. So it's adding 11,474.17 to the budget. That option saves us about $20,000 in interest between the 5-year and the 7-year.
You answered my question.
What is the title of the line item that 51,000 number is under?
So
Fire
that is
truck purchase.
the fire truck
Fire
purchase
truck
that's
purchase.
in the fire department budget.
I'm just asking for purposes of making the motion being technically accurate.
And when they do sell the current fire truck, which we have no idea how long that will take, but when they do, will that be allowed to be applied to principal on that loan?
No.
Why?
It's going to purchasing fund.
So that wasn't the deal when we purchased it. We subtracted the $50,000 estimate of what they would get for the sale of the fire truck from the purchase of it. That's what we gave to the citizens when they voted for the fire truck.
Well, so the warrant article says approve up to a $275,000 loan. I don't think that we can take into consideration money that hasn't been received or recognized yet because we haven't sold it. And
Right, but when
We
it
never
is sold, the idea was to put it towards the purchase of that truck.
I guess that will be a decision of the select board if and when that other truck is sold. I mean, I don't think it's something that we can rely on right now
Because we don't know the number.
because we hasn't been
Hasn't been
sold. We
sold.
don't
Yeah.
have a purchase agreement in place.
Do we have any idea what it might bring, just for
We
looking at it?
used, I think, 50,000 as our estimate when we were looking into the purchase of the fire truck. I don't have those numbers anymore.
Colin, do you happen to have a number you think would be accurate? Do you think 50,000 is in the ballpark or?
It could be 50, it could be 75, 80, depends on what the market's going for at that time, what the need is.
Okay.
You know, I'll share my 2 cents with you.
Mhm.
I think that the sale of that fire truck should go into the purchase fund towards the replacement of the engine, which is gonna be due to be replaced in about 8 years. If you're financing for 5 years, that's going to really not fill any purchase bucket for the future, other than the funds we have in there right now. And if I was a betting man 8 years from now, you're probably looking at close to $1 million to replace the engine. So I would encourage you to try to fill as much as you can into that bucket. Otherwise, taxpayers in 8 years from now are gonna get hit with a very, very, very large bill.
So, wow, so you think it's gonna be up to $1 million?
I bet you be darn close, absolutely.
To buy new or used?
No.
A new fire truck, a new fire engine, absolutely.
What's the depreciation rates like on something like that?
I don't know.
23 years.
What's that?
And I think the FTA says replacement typically is like 23 years of age of the vehicle. So to go out and buy a used one, you know, there is a market for some. But it makes it only a viable truck for a shorter period of time if you buy a used vehicle. There is that considered.
I'm just going on my experience that buying a used car about a year or 2 old is a really good sweet spot to buy a used vehicle. I don't know if the same is true in
The 25-year-old fire truck?
Yeah, no idea.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Colin, but the market's being really pinched for buyers right now because of like venture capital acquiring like all the few firms who actually make these trucks. So hence the huge increase in the rates.
I can't speak to that, I don't know.
I only mention it from the standpoint of how many, like, 1 or 2 year old used.
I just
Trucks
know
are we gonna find out
if
there?
you look at St. J just bought 2 trucks,
Mhm.
okay? You look at what we paid. I've been fire chief, just finished my 3rd year this go round. I don't have the exact numbers, but they were trying to buy this tanker truck before I became chief. And I believe we ended up paying close to $75,000, if not more, for this tanker versus what they originally were able to get it for. So I think your costs are just gonna continue to go up.
Okay. Any motion?
Will, do you have the language?
Hang on, I'm just
And
writing
when,
this.
and when did the, town reports go to the printer, Kathy? Have we already published the budget numbers?
No,
Okay. What's the
we're
date?
meeting next Monday afternoon to review all the stuff and get everything. We hope to have it to the printers, I believe, 21st or 23rd. 23rd is what the goal is, to get it out so that we can get it back in time.
So, yeah. So we can do that tonight, then.
So I'll make a motion to increase the fire truck purchase line item in the fiscal year 2026 budget to $62,782.42.
I second that.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, next up is,
Just clarifying, so the board agrees to move forward with the 5-year note with Passumpsic Savings Bank?
Mhm.
What was the 7-year option savings going with 5-year?
There's about a $20,000 savings in interest. I just want to make sure that the board is, because we need to get the paperwork drawn up, so 5 years?
Okay, so I'll make a motion then to accept the Passumpsic Savings Bank 5-year payment plan offer.
Second.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, next up is payroll policy. This was given to us last time. And the most significant change was going from weekly to bi-weekly and mentioning direct deposit with funds available on Friday instead of weekly with checks available on Thursday. Anybody see anything else in that revised policy that needs changing? Okay, if not, somebody'd like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the select board adopt the payroll policy as presented to us.
Have a second?
I can second that. I just want to make sure that we take a close look at the personnel policy now and make sure that they align, because now we'll have two places where we talk about payroll.
Clear?
I believe, sorry to interrupt, Ron, I believe this was done in response to making sure that they align.
I just to check after this.
Yep.
Let's approve this policy and then just go back and make sure we don't need to tweak the personnel policy to match this.
I think we do. I think I found something that I
I
missed.
think so too.
There's something, there may be something elsewhere, but in the definitions
Yes.
of, I forgot what the definition is, which definition, but it mentions weekly.
Yeah.
Didn't get changed.
Yeah.
So,
I can do that because I have the master copy. I can take this
Okay.
home this evening and make sure we match it up.
okay. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting this revised payroll policy as written, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Now you need us to sign it. Yes.
Deb, when you're sending that to the webmaster to put on the website, could you copy me so that I have a copy and can check the personnel policy, please? Thank you.
So, Ron, before we move forward.
Yeah.
Does the board feel like they need it on record that they are approving the increase to the overall budget number that was stated in the December 8th meeting?
Could, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if a motion needs to be made, but Hannah, if you wouldn't mind just making note of, and I have the numbers here if you need them, that what we're proposing would increase the budget to that number, the overall town budget.
I mean, I would think it's, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's sort of assumed if you increase one of them, but maybe it's better. How's anybody else feel?
I think Will's suggestion right now is probably the correct approach. We've approved the increase, and so it's just a matter of noting the budget impact.
The change to the
Okay.
budget.
All right. All right. Next up is town meeting warning. And I think there's a copy in front of all board members.
There are some holes in there. I just wanted you to have it in front of you. Unfortunately, you won't be able to sign the real one until next Tuesday or Wednesday because I have to wait until after the 15th when any petitions can still come in. I don't want to wait until the possible last board meeting of the month because the auditors would like to send it out before that. So Wade, I think you have the most odd schedule. So we'll figure out some way for you to sign it next week.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. I have sent a copy to Maurice Shalou as well.
Yeah, I think there was something Dave Morrison mentioned last year, and I think it's,
Yeah, Dave Morrison here. Yeah, the horses kind of left the barn on this. I missed a few meetings that I regretted, but, yes, I had mentioned this before. If I have understood Paul Hayes's rendition of what happened in one of the December meetings, you had somebody from the state here giving you qualified advice on the warning. That, you got it right in-house, your moderator. All you gotta do is call him up, bring him over. I've given that suggestion past years and it's kind of too late this year, but, if some of you are on the board another year, he's your resource. He has to run that meeting. He knows what's worded right, what isn't worded right, what's missing, and, anyway, enough said. Thank you.
I know my memory isn't very good, but I don't remember anybody from the state being here telling us.
Well, Deb didn't recognize when I started this story, but it was in one of the reports. Paul hasn't been to the meetings lately. I don't know how he's doing this, but except from your recording device. But it was somebody from the state. That doesn't ring anybody's bell.
I don't believe this has been a discussion item, the town meeting warrant, at either the
Might have
December
been another
meetings.
subject and I'm in error.
Yeah, I don't think we discussed it until tonight.
Deb just sent the warning to Morris as a courtesy, but when you very first started talking about the warning, I don't know if any of you recall, but during COVID, there were articles that were completely left out just because a mistake was made and the next year you copied a mistake. It was not good. Thank you.
I think there are a couple of articles in here that, if I'm remembering correctly from last year, I don't know if it was Morris or you that suggested they be right after the election of officers. I think it was the one, and we can wait to hear from Morris, but it was the part about, will the town levy an interest charge on all delinquent taxes on real and personal property? And maybe the when taxes were due. And maybe,
Yeah,
So you want to move Article 20?
well, I'm not suggesting, I'm just thinking
Oh, okay.
that
I don't remember that conversation, but, wait for Morris, he's your man.
Yep. Okay.
I graduated.
So if we wait for him before we make any changes, but if this has to be signed,
I will
This
talk,
week.
I will talk to Mr. Shalhoub before you all sign it.
okay.
Okay,
The thing that got left that 1 year was the time of the next year's, meeting.
That's in here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's Article 27.
okay. So,
And I just looked up the date of October 15th, 2026, and it's a Thursday, so that's a good day for taxes to be due.
If it was a Friday, I'd be open anyhow.
Okay,
If it's a Saturday, I'd be open.
okay,
The only day I don't think I have to be open is on a Sunday,
okay.
and then we move it to Monday.
I guess the only question I have here is Article 22, which reads, beginning January 1, 2027, all town of Waterford employees enrolled in the town's health insurance shall contribute 10% of the premium cost for the coverage they select. Then beginning January 1, 2028, they shall contribute 20% and shall continue to contribute this amount each year after. I'm guessing this was a petitioned article from the voters. Is this not run into the same issue that we had with the ATV vote where it's non-binding? Because as far as I know, under state statute,
That's a-
decisions on payroll are the authority and purview of the select board. Just a thought I had about that article.
Well, if you get as far as town meeting and you find that what you just said is true, you simply pass over the article.
Or you
still
still have the vote on the article, it's just non-binding.
That's wasting time and energy. If you found decades ago, somebody had an article on the warning that every building in this village had to be painted white. There was a couple family buildings that weren't. You just pass over it when it's silly. But that may have merit. I'm not saying that thing, but your point is maybe completely valid.
but in this case, even if it was non-binding, it would give the select board, particularly if it was an overwhelming vote, it would give the select board, they would let the select board know what the voters, how the voters felt, I would think.
I agree, it would give us a pulse or a finger on the pulse of the voters on the matter.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the pre-town meeting, we can have a robust discussion on that issue. It has merits, but it has weaknesses.
Okay, anything else from on the town meeting warning? I don't, it doesn't really need to be voted on, I guess, just, we'll have to be signing it early next week.
One other note, in the back of your mind, pre-town meeting is February 24th.
Tim, could you repeat that?
February 24th, pre-town meeting, Waterford School, 6 o'clock.
For those of you new on the board, that's really going through the articles we have. It's actually not our meeting, it's Morris Shalhoub's meeting.
I remember that from last year. Yeah, but I think you addressed this, but, my head is congested and so the hearing is a little off. Numbers were left open in some of the articles,
Yes.
in the budget. How did,
They will be,
logistically,
they will be filled in before you sign on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
very good.
All right, next up is liquor license for Rabbit Hill Inn.
They are applying for a first class, third class, and an outside, which is their standard
Okay,
licenses.
And we do this annually, Deb?
okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
Do we have the license before us to sign?
All you have to do is give me an approval, and I literally go in and push the button.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the Rabbit Hill Inn with the license for 2027. It's for calendar year, 2026, sorry.
Do we need to specify first class, third class, and outside?
Nope,
No?
just liquor license.
Okay, any discussion? Or any more discussion?
Is this an annual thing, or?
Yes.
Okay, if not, all those in favor of approving Rabbit Hill Inn's liquor license for 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Wade seconded it. Okay. Certificate of highway mileage. This was sent to us. And, there were, as I understand it, there are no changes from last year, correct?
I'm not aware of any changes. Jim, you didn't change anything on the highway mileage, correct?
Okay. I have a motion to approve this certificate. I guess that's what we're doing.
So moved.
I can second that.
Any discussion?
What is this about?
It is
Number of miles.
number of miles. It's class, well, it's all classes, but we don't have, no class one. So it's class two, class three, and state highway miles. And also shows class four mileage.
Oh, interesting. And,
It has to do with state funding.
okay, and there's no changes from last year, if I heard this right?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I have a motion. Or do I have a motion?
Yeah,
It
or
was
Will, and I
moved by
second
me,
it.
so second.
Okay. I must have left from it. All those in favor of the motion to accept this certificate of highway mileage, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, and we all have to sign it here, I guess. Okay. Next up is review recommendation for 2026 fire chief. We received a letter from Will Rivers, the assistant fire chief, recommending Colin Fucci be appointed. Is that the right word? Recommended, or whatever it is, for 2026.
Well, I think Colin's doing a fantastic job, and we'd appreciate it if you would continue to do so. So I will make a motion to accept his nomination for fire chief for 2026.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Colin, want to continue
Colin will continue for this year.
for this year? Is that a veiled communication?
No, we got a few things we're gonna work on this year, a few goals that we're gonna try to achieve this year, and we'll reevaluate at the end of the year.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All those in favor of appointing Colin Fucci as fire chief for 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Here.
And do you want everything that's been signed up here now, Deb? or-
I think I have it.
Oh, you have it all?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. All right, next up is emergency operations. Vermont Alert Memorandum of Understanding, and Roger LaRue is here to chat with us about these.
Waterford hasn't been signed up for Vermont Alert. A lot of times, like, there's been people signed up for the St. J area, but the town of Waterford themselves have not. It is a free service by the state. I say free, taxpayers pay for it, but, so we're participating as taxpayers, but not utilizing the service, so. I have, Ron signed the form, we asked the state to include us into that, so the town of Waterford can now start using VT Alert. But you have to take a little half-hour, 45-minute training in order to be able to post anything. And it's strictly for emergencies, so it's not for meetings and things of that nature. So we would need to identify who you guys would want to take that training, and I can facilitate that once you determine who you want to be. I'm assuming, the fire chief, undoubtedly, maybe the town clerk, maybe someone from the select board. I'm not sure how you want to do this.
What are the types of things that are posted on Vermont Alert? I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, a prime example that we could use it here in Waterford was the ice storm where we had Route 18 closed for over 4 hours. The fire
At
department.
Styles Pond, right?
Yeah, so those are the kinds of things, there's a fire here, avoid the area, those kinds of things that we put out there as an announcement to the, to the town. And it is, from an emergency management standpoint, it's important to reach out to our residents, and we rely on Facebook and the webpage. This is just another avenue, and hopefully a better avenue overall.
What's involved with training?
It's about a half-hour class online. I don't even think there's a test. I don't recall taking a test. So it's, it's relatively simple, but it just shows you how to get into it and so on. If you'd like to give me some names for that, we can help that along. The other thing is, in order to let the townspeople know, Vermont Alert also has a bunch of brochures and so forth, so I wouldn't mind setting up or sitting at a table at town meeting and or pre-town meeting with some brochures and some information if people have questions about VT Alert. So I'd be willing to do that.
That'd be good.
Secondly, the memorandums of understanding for emergency shelters we talked about earlier this year. And I had sent a couple of various copies, and I have a couple of hard copies here, and I can resend the software or the Word documents if you guys want to read.
And this is where we were gonna try to get an MOU with the school so that we could use the school as an emergency shelter.
So the Waterford School as well as the Union Baptist School. So I'd like to see that moving into that direction if possible. And next, just an update on when we decided to move the Emergency Operations Center, should we need it, to the firehouse. We applied for a generator to upgrade the generator at the firehouse. That generator that's there was purchased in 2004 with some excess Homeland Security, actually fire grants back then. And it's getting a little rusty, and it also won't do the whole facility. Originally, we had a little extra money, and it was purchased for safety purposes so that the doors would be open and closed without firemen or firefighters having to raise those doors manually to get the trucks out. So it would be nice to get the grant and upgrade that generator so that we can do the whole work. So that's, I'm not sure exactly when we're gonna hear that. I think the money's been reallocated to the state, but Heather might have a better handle on that. Maybe not.
It's FEMA.
Yeah, I get that. I did have a question. I know that the town was considering upgrading the phone system. I don't know if that's still in the works.
It is still in the works.
I'd like to suggest part of that discussion would be if this is all gonna be a voice over IP system.
Yep.
Phones can be moved from one location to the other. So that if we did have to open up the Emergency Operations Center, you've got 3 lines downstairs, I believe, two. And they're separate numbers, right? So if these are all digital voice over IP, those phones should be able to be moved to the firehouse, because we've only got one line there. So for an emergency where you've got the fire department working on their side of the emergency, and you have the town facilitating the liaisons, trying to find, for example, flooding, so you're trying to find contractors and things of that nature, we're gonna need additional phone lines. So if that could be considered, when you start looking at that upgrade. I think that would be important to improve the, either if they're VoIP, probably just off the Wi-Fi. But I could be wrong, and I'd have to look at this system that you're looking at. And the other thing is, once this is all in place and or the generator's there, I'd like to suggest that we do a tabletop exercise to get everybody familiarized with having an emergency and what the different roles are within that. I mean, I know some of you have taken some of the incident command classes, like 100, but I think it would be a good experience to do that. And Vermont Emergency Management would gladly work with us to develop that. And I've developed them before for hospital events, when I was emergency preparedness coordinator there. So that might be something I'd like to do, and I don't know what would be the best time frame. If it would be a summer thing, or if you guys would prefer fall, just vacation schedules and things of that nature. Any thoughts on that would be helpful.
My one question, Roger, going back to VT Alert, what exactly is it? Is it an app that people download?
You go online, you sign up for it. You can suggest whether it's, whether you get text or emails. I don't believe, I'm not sure if they will call home phone numbers or not. That I'm not 100% sure of.
Okay, so it's essentially like an opt-in text alert service.
Absolutely, it's an
Okay.
opt-in system, yeah, and, you know, it's free of charge, you just tell them, I mean, I'm in, on St. John's Marie, so it's not geographically restrictive, but it certainly does want to be in the areas.
Okay. Now, you did also mention that, you know, it was used for, a great example of its potential use would have been that road closure on Route 18. You're saying there's one person who's designated to control it in a town. Do you think in terms of an emergency, like say a tree falls across a road and the highway department has to clear it, that would be a suitable use for that?
I believe so, if it was gonna be a long term. If it's just, you know, a short thing, you might not even bother, because you might have it cleaned up before it actually gets posted and gets out to people.
Okay.
So, you know, you would use the system frequently. It's not like when you're putting messages out on a weekly basis
Okay,
or
click
anything.
the link.
And it wouldn't necessarily be just one person. It's just one person, that's me right now, that's taking a class and can get into the system to do it. It's just a management type on the system.
Okay,
And the only other thing I've got is, for what it's worth, I'm taking an emergency management director training class this Wednesday and Thursday, so we're continuing to educate so we can help you out.
okay. So what do you need from us tonight, Roger? You needed some names for taking the Vermont Alert?
Yep, that would be helpful if you wanted to do that. I mean, if you want to discuss who would be the best options, here's a couple copies of or a copy of each MOU that we had discussed. Let's go up there, and there's a list of my questions, and if you want to follow up later with me on that.
And you emailed me the MOUs some time ago.
I did.
This summer,
I did.
yeah, I mean, last summer.
And I can resend them if you.
I still have them. I will take a look at them.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Just one other question, Roger, still about VT Alert. Did you say that only one person can be the designated person for VT Alert, or is it as
No.
many as we?
You can have, you know, 4 or 5 people if you want. I mean, it's,
Okay.
we just kind of have to decide who's gonna take the time to go into the system and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and we obviously will want to coordinate it with whoever it is. If Jim has a major incident going on that we need to alert the town of, you know, a bridge is out or something like that, you know, that might come through the town. emergencies get identified or through the fire department. So, it's not just one person, we can have multiple people that get trained on it.
I don't know, board, it just seems to me like this would be, in our purchasing policy, we identified the, I can't remember the technical term for it, but it was those who had the ability to make large purchases on their own, like the department heads essentially. It seems like at least, the fire chief and the road foreman should have the ability to do that. And someone in the town office, whether that's the clerk. I feel like the clerk would be the most appropriate. I'm not sure if one of us would necessarily need to have access to that. I would go so far as to advocate against that, only because we're not in like an on-call role. I mean, Deb's not in an on-call role either, but we also don't hold like regular hours. So if we designate one person and say they're on vacation in Hawaii when something happens, just in my head, I feel like town clerk, fire chief, road foreman are the ideal candidates. Roger, do you think there would be a benefit to, since you're the emergency coordinator, to having you have access to it as well?
Yeah, I would think so, because if it was, I would be involved with probably most incidences anyway at this point. With being on the fire department, I'd be aware of some of those events. So that's why I thought the fire chief, but, I think it'll be interesting to take this class this week, because there's different things going on with emergency management director, which is what the LEMP, which is our emergency management plan, states. So I'm just trying to get a clear understanding of what the roles of that are. And also make sure that the position is covered by the town for errors and omissions as well. I'm assuming as an agent of the town, I would be, but I guess I'm not 100% sure.
Not under our DLCP policy, because we don't cover, doesn't the fire department have their own?
He's not part of the fire department.
Yeah,
EMD is not part of my department.
That position, right?
okay, then that would be covered under DLCP.
Do they need to be listed? Do they need to be listed on the policy?
That's something I'd have to check.
We can check it, but he's appointed, so
Right.
covered.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. To Will's point about, sort of on-call coverage, does the fire department have a deep enough bench to ensure 24/7 coverage if an emergency should arise that we need to activate this service?
I would think
I
so.
would think so. I mean, it's volunteer, but, we do pretty well with our staffing of calls.
Well,
And one of the things that, we could look at is, say there was a fire emergency dispatch, Century Dispatch is gonna know that we're out, so that, the officer that's in charge of the incident, if it's a fire-related issue, mind you, because that's where your concern would be, we could always have a call list there at fire dispatch so that they could alert whoever's on that, so that they could send out a BT alert if one was necessary. So I think we could work around that, but it's just a matter of working through those policies and coming up with some plans.
well, like Will said, the board goes on vacation, but I'm imagining the chief and the assistant chief and whatnot go on vacations as well, so,
We do, but you'd be amazed how much communication goes on between
I can appreciate
the
that.
officers' positions. We're talking almost on a daily basis. I'm gonna be out of town for the afternoon, just so you're aware, we do that all the time. So, it's pretty good communications at that level.
Thank you.
And we all know, I mean, it's better to have something in place than nothing at all. If it doesn't work, well, at least done our due diligence in trying to make it work. So it would be an improvement.
Did towns use the Vermont alert system when we had the fire bans this summer and fall? Was a fire ban something that was an alert or not?
Oh.
Is that not enough of an emergency?
The state, obviously, it was on the news and everything else. I don't recall getting any fire alerts there. the fire department has through dispatch, we have another mode to tell us that those, the fire dangers at different levels. But, I'm not sure that, to me, that would be an appropriate thing to send out to people. And again, we'll get more information and I can ask those
I
questions.
did get a couple of calls on that
Sure.
this fall about, are we on or are we off? And where do we find that information?
And not everybody's watching the local news.
And sort of shifting back to your last, well, it might not have been your last subject, but the one you were talking about, now I've forgotten what it was called, the emergency management, where you suggested getting together for some meetings either this summer or fall, depending on people's schedule.
Tabletop exercise.
Tabletop exercise, yeah. You know, maybe after town meeting day, that could be discussed, you know, be put on an agenda to be discussed and
Absolutely.
With the new
with the new-
board.
new select board.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Anything else?
I mean, I hate to keep bringing it back to VT alert, but Roger, do you think it would be in our best interest as a board tonight to nominate who those people are that we want to have take the training?
Yeah, I think the sooner the better. I mean, we never know when an ice storm or something like that, or high winds are gonna, you know, I mean, it's a way for us to reach out to townsfolk. It's a way to, you know, if we're trying to manage, an ice storm and people have lost power for a number of hours or days, it's a way for us to communicate, to them. And of course, the fire department will be out doing wellness checks and so forth as much as we could.
Okay.
I agree. I think this would be a, you know, a vital service to have. You know, there's the website and Facebook, like you said, but not everyone has a Facebook. I would go so far as to venture that a significant number of people don't have or don't pay attention to Facebook. Gang, if we were to make a motion tonight, what would be the appropriate action verb here? Would we be dictating that these people take the training? Would we be asking that they take the training? Would we be
Well, that's
recommending?
exactly what I was gonna raise. Is this even a subject matter for board approval? It seems like it sort of falls within the fire department, emergency management response
I mean, I see
consideration.
I see we have the authority to ask that, you know, the fire chief and the road foreman do. I don't know if we have the authority to dictate that the town clerk does
You could
anything
say
since she's an independent.
And or their designees.
Well, let me throw this out at you. My understanding, and the reason why I said I wanted to take this MDM course or EMD course is I want to make sure I understand the legality of what that position is supposed to look into. My understanding is that the emergency management director can appoint emergency management coordinators. And maybe that's what we would put those people under that purview as coordinators. And supposedly there's no limit to that number. And I'll have a better understanding of that after Thursday, after I get through the class. But that's my understanding based on some regional meetings that I've been going to. There's a big push of trying to get towns to work together more for emergencies, for sharing resources. You know, if we had a major event and Jim needed more construction type equipment, we might be able to get Concord to loan us some equipment and some services. So there's all of that, you know, looking forward down the road. I mean,
So you're saying it's better to wait until you've taken this?
well, then I'll know better if, you know, if I can appoint people with your, you know, your approval. I would, you know, seek out people that are interested in participating and then let you know and say, you know, like you appoint everybody else in town. Are you good with that?
But procedurally, that's exactly my point. I don't think you need our approval unless I'm missing something. We don't tell you who to hire among the ranks in the fire department.
Sure. I'm just trying to make it as open as possible.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, yeah. As far as these MOUs go, you say they need to be sent to the Waterford school principal and the head of Union Baptist School? Is that
I believe so. I mean, you may want to.
No, it's gotta go to
CCSU.
okay?
Probably the CCSU.
All right, so is
Again,
that,
this version was a vetted letter that I got from, that was vetted by Vermont League of Cities and Towns. And it was for school using another facility, so I just tweaked that around so that it was vice versa, us using the facilities. So, taking up more of your time than we should have, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. You're still well ahead of schedule.
The school always used to be the emergency place, but the town no longer owns the school.
Mhm.
So we just never made an official agreement with
Yeah.
CCSD.
All right. Anything else?
So does it require a motion for us to have it on here, what the select board chair is, denoted as the borrower contact? Should we make a motion that the select board chair, send these over to the Union Baptist School and the CCSU, Caledonia Central Supervisor Union?
We should give them a look through first, just,
No, absolutely.
and Roger did send them to me months ago, and I just never got around to looking at them, but we should take a look and make sure that that's what we want to tell them. And that,
Okay.
it
so
probably is. I mean,
just that we have to look before we.
look before we leave.
Make it an item for next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it should be.
You want MOU on your next agenda?
MOU, next agenda, should be, yeah.
Okay. Next up is an item I put on there, Prevent Child Abuse Vermont. They sent us back in October, they sent us an appropriation request. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but we discussed it briefly, but I don't even know if we discussed it in the meeting or but we didn't take any action on it. And in the information they sent us, and I just came across it when I was preparing for this meeting, so I thought, well, we never really gave them an answer.
And I don't even
and didn't do
remember
anything.
it, so.
But they didn't follow what is usually done. Usually groups that ask for an appropriation, request an appropriation, tell us how much they're looking for us to appropriate.
Right,
They did not.
it's
And
open-ended.
it was, yeah, and in the last line of it, it said we'd be happy to provide additional information of the services we have provided in your community. So I took it upon myself to email,
Thank you,
the
Roger.
lady's name is Karen Nevin, and she's the Director of Development. I emailed her last Monday, to ask if she could provide us more information, and that it, we had finished our budget process, but, usually there's the groups request a certain amount, and
Ron?
yes,
Yeah, in conjunction with what you're saying there, wouldn't this be appropriate to be on the warning if they're asking, if they send a letter of description like most of the charities do now? Maybe you don't have time to get it on there, but I'm just, most appropriations go through some of them go through the town meeting.
yeah, well,
We
Yeah,
have
they
to
don't-
know about them before they can get put on there, though.
yeah, and, I hadn't quite finished, but when I emailed her, like I said, it was last Monday, and I haven't heard back from her. So I don't have any more information about it or a requested amount. It's because there was,
Right.
so I guess just sort of,
So procedurally, is it just a matter of somebody moves to authorize $500 petition on the town warning for,
They didn't ask for $500, though.
well, they didn't ask for anything.
They
so
didn't
just
ask for
that,
anything.
if they're doing what they say they're doing, which is preventing child abuse, I'd say it's kind of hard to want to turn a blind eye to that. And and say, no, absolutely not. They didn't ask for money, but 500, I think, is enough to get their foot in the door, and they can better organize next year.
Is it new this year, Ron, that they're soliciting appropriation from municipalities? Okay, because I'm just looking at their financials. They only have their financials up from 2024, but there's no municipal revenue. Shall I?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time they've asked
Okay.
Waterford. I don't know if they've asked other communities or not.
I'm
Yes,
Dave Morris, I'm not addressing the merits of this request, I'm addressing the procedure, because we have the option at town meeting, that whole list of things, we have the option to vote no.
of course you do. Yeah.
And, I think the board has the right to do what you're talking about, what Tim's talking about, but, you don't wanna get yourself in trouble by appropriating money and then it missed out the normal procedure for something like this.
Well, if I understand correctly, this is just about getting the appropriation request onto the warning, is that correct? And we would just
And
fill in
changing
the
the
dollar
budget.
value?
And changing the budget again.
Historically, what happens is when the appropriation comes in, the organization asks for a dollar figure.
Yes, it's not up to us.
Right.
To put a number on there.
And I think they usually have a description of their services and
Yeah, there's,
it goes into the warning that Kathy's working on.
I have the letter and I've got a brochure here. It just, their annual report. Well, that's Northeast Kingdom Human Services, so I didn't read the whole thing. I was just trying to, I had found it in my
Trying to be a good
various
guy.
Right,
things, so I thought I would ask. And the fact that I got no reply, I would,
right. I think we could let them know the proper procedure for next year, how we do our budget and when the timeline is, so that they can proactively request a dollar amount next year.
October 1st is generally our deadline.
And then the select board would say yay or nay on putting it in budget.
I guess I still don't see why we as a select board can't just add, another article in here on the town warning where we essentially spitball and come up with a number, like, just looking at some of our other appropriations, 500 to the Council on Aging, 750 to
Right, we
Northeast
could,
Kingdom Youth Services.
we could, but, when we left our meeting in December, we had approved the budget.
Mhm.
This evening, we've changed that for the fire department. Are we gonna change it again to add an appropriation when they didn't let us know a number?
Well, we haven't signed the meeting warrant yet, so I think this is a little bit nitpicky for my taste. I would like to move that we approve $500 for, who was it? The Prevent Child Abuse Vermont organization, and tell them to be a little better organized next year.
So just to be clear here, Tim,
Not approve, I put it on the petition for.
It would have to be approved in our budget in order for us to put it on the warning.
Okay, here's a thought on,
Yeah.
in conjunction with what Tim said. If you put it on there with 500, and between now and then you get to hear back for a more accurate figure, every appropriation article is amendable up or down
on the floor.
on the floor. Yeah. So if that amount seems to be inappropriate, could be amended based on information that you may have got by then.
So Tim, just to be clear, your motion here is to put an article on the town warning that, we ask the voters whether or not they'd like $500
To go to the
to go to the
Prevent Child Abuse
Vermont.
That would be my motion.
Just a question, who here can speak for this organization? Anybody in this room?
We are just looking them up. They do seem to appear to be legit. And they are, Robin, and they are working and having meetings in the kingdom around parenting skills.
So you know that?
I don't know that. That's why.
Right, because I can tell you when I was on the board, you would have people sending requests for anything and everything. just because it's that time of year, you send it to the select board chair, and not a person in town had ever heard of half of these people, or never had any action or interaction, and that no one in town was receiving any services for this, or nobody knew of anybody who was receiving services. So, I mean, I kind of look at who is asking and why they're asking, and if they're not responding to your email, they're just looking for a quick hit of $500 or whatever you want to give them. That'd be my impression, but maybe I'm a little more cynical.
I don't
I mean,
think you're out of
six-
line for
No.
raising the question.
I will say that Prevent Child Abuse Vermont is listed on the Vermont Department of Health as one of their resources for organizations that help prevent child abuse. So I feel like that in and of itself is a suitable voucher, like that they're actually
You're
like at
getting
least a
your
legitimate.
information from what website?
Healthvermont.gov, which is the Vermont Department of Health's government website.
Okay,
It is a legit.
you know,
I said, I have a child care and I work beside them.
okay.
Yeah.
So somebody here knows them.
It is, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's on the Vermont
That would
Department.
be my first question, you know?
I work beside.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they're a worthwhile organization. I felt guilty because we didn't take care of it. I dropped the ball on it then, that's why I asked him, and, but the fact that now I realize they're probably busy, but when they didn't respond, I guess I would lean towards wait until next year.
Dave Morrison. To Will's question about what this would look like, it would just look like any of those other appropriation. I haven't looked at the warning, but there's usually about a dozen of them. They all look alike.
Okay,
I'm not sure if this got lost in the shuffle or not, but I second your motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. Thank you. My proposal is that we, vote it up or down right now,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't look great by the time we get to the actual town meeting, well, we know how to vote at that point and make appropriate representations to the voting members in attendance.
Yeah, like I recall last year, there was another animal shelter, another thing that you stood up and vouched for, Ron, or not vouched for, but presented on.
Riverside.
Yes.
yeah, I just explained that we already gave to one, but this was another that asked for it, but in that one, they told us how the town of Waterford benefited from what they did. And that was one of the things that, in this letter, it said, if you want to know more about services in your community, ask. I asked, I haven't heard, so. But are you, any more discussion before we vote on this? Yeah,
I'm good.
if not,
Thank you.
all those in favor of putting that as an article on the town meeting agenda with the amount of $500 to prevent child abuse Vermont, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed?
I'll give them an eye.
I'll say nay, and for the
I'll-
purpose
No.
I was trying to be a stickler for procedure, and I don't feel that they followed it. But I'll go with the eye on that one.
Okay, so I guess it passed 3-2. Correct? Now, do we have to revise the budget again?
Well, the 500 will be added to the budget, which makes the total $1,682,050.80.
And I'll, up until town meeting day, if I hear, I'm not going to beg for information. I've reached out to them, and if they want to give it to me, they can, but I'll let you know if I hear anything.
That's fine.
Repeat the new total, please.
$1,682,050.80.
Thank you.
Okay? Next up is town garage renovation. Under citizens' concerns, at last meeting, Suki Watson brought up, just asking us where we were at because we had advertised the project in the Caledonia Record and got no responses to it. Suki volunteered to write a letter on the board's behalf and, for the board's signature. And she did that and she sent it to us. I think she sent it to all of us. And, but I've been, I don't know if anybody else, but Marcel has suggested a couple of times that he thought having an architect involved might be a good idea. But so I haven't sent the letter. I haven't signed the letter and sent it to anybody. I'm not trying to postpone the whole thing, but I did make a few calls since the last meeting. Just I called Jeff Coda. He is the chair of the Barton Selectboard, to ask him some questions about their process. They built a new garage. I think it was just finished maybe this summer. Theirs is bigger than ours. I think it's a 5-bay garage. And I asked him some questions about the whole process and how it went. He told me that E.H. Danson was the architectural firm that designed and inspected construction, and Spates Construction was the contractor. After I talked with him, I called, I had spoken with someone from E.H. Danson this past summer or fall. And I lost his name, but I believe.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, I can't.
They're the ones that put it onto the Wolf Associates. It was E.H. Danson that gave us the Wolf Associates information.
But he also, Sean Hallisey had come here when he was talking about, he thought we should consider a new building, and he had square foot cost for a new building that he had gotten from E.H. Danson, I think. And so I talked to him this summer. I called him back and I spoke with someone by the name of Ben Ward. And he talked about the pros and cons of new versus renovation. He did tell me that with what we were proposing to have done to the garage, with replacing the roof structure and raising the wall on the old addition side, that it was his opinion that those renovations would not require us to make the building ADA compliant, which it's always been a little bit, I didn't think we needed to, but I can't claim to be an expert on it by any stretch. He did say that with a new structure, if their firm, he said the cost for their services for design through construction would be in the 6-figure range, so 100,000 plus. And he estimated, he said that they're advertising a project for the town of Coventry, same size, I don't know if same size garage, but same number of bays, 3-bay garage this week. And so they'll have prices on that at some point, but he said for an estimate, they were using $325 a square foot. I think that was a little more than than what I had been told last summer, but it may not be surprising. And I failed to ask him if, I think that was just construction costs. I don't think that included design in inspection. But he also said something that I had learned earlier last summer or fall from Ryan Ehrenberg, who works for the state fire marshal's office, that even for the renovation, it would require a permit from the state fire marshal to do that renovation. He said,
Does that mean we have to put a fire suppression system in?
no, in fact, he said, Mr. Ward said that if we built a garage the same size, if we built a new garage the same size as the one we currently have, 60 by 80, I believe, it falls under just under, it's 4,800 square feet. At 5,000 square feet, you have to put in a fire suppression system. But you still have to go, you still need a permit from the state fire marshal to do the renovation. But I'm just, I was just trying to do a little more research before we stepped out, but whether, he said that the town could, apply for their own permit from the state fire marshal, or they could do it for us and they could advertise. They might be able to give us some recommendations. They could obviously draw up some plans. But I don't know whether we want to go that route or whether we just apply for the permit ourselves and do like what was suggested at the December meeting, where Suki had, I think she had done some research on, and I think she had 3 different contractors that had done projects of similar size and scope, or, whether we want to just reach out to them ourselves. Obviously, we would save some money in design and inspection costs, but maybe we wouldn't save money in the long run. Who knows?
They're probably gonna charge you for it anyways.
I'm a little bit leery of trying to save money. I mean, no, yes, let's save money, but I wonder if there's an element of penny wise and pound foolish here. And it worries me, not having architectural review. And it worries me more that we're operating blind on the question of this renovation, which costs may or may not run out of control, versus starting from a blank slate and building new. I don't have the tools here as we speak. I'm uncomfortable without better professional information here.
What did we pay Wolf Associates for? We paid them for something.
We paid them,
Evaluation of the structural.
yeah,
Structural assessment.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, to see if we could splice into the existing
Right.
trusses.
Yeah.
And
Or start with new trusses.
or start with new trusses and evaluate, yeah. And they said, yes, you could splice into the existing trusses. You had to do contractor would have to do some
The price difference.
reinforcing or something, I
I
forgot.
had it all, I had all that stuff done at one point in time. I had all the trusses, I had the diagrams of all the trusses, the add-ons, the whole 9 yards. So it was engineered through a truss company, trying to build trusses, through Allen Lumber or whatever their new name is.
Yeah, RK Miles, they give
I
us
dealt
those.
with Arcade Miles and they sent the information to a truss company, and they had their engineers design a truss rafter that would fit on that. And gave me back the results.
And I believe Suki had RK Miles do the same thing, didn't she, when she came down?
Probably.
I think she did.
So it is, I mean, they can design, they have engineers for load capacity, the whole 9 yards for what we were talking about doing.
I still play devil's advocate here in that when you get into construction in older buildings or older houses, I think we all know you discover things that you weren't counting on, and I'm just wondering if that Murphy's Law is in play today. Like, if there's black mold in the building, is it gonna be a issue we suddenly discover is much bigger than we first understood it?
Well, I don't think there's any question, you're gonna have to gut that hole inside. It rains inside the shop, and there's black mold, visible black mold everywhere.
Is all the material that would be addressed in the renovation removed from the building and new goes in?
That was all part of the original plan, was to rip that whole ceiling and all that insulation out of it. Because I'm sure that it's all black mold. It's the ceiling's falling down. So rip all that, got that all out of there, extend the wall up to accommodate larger vehicles. You have 3 existing weight-bearing walls in there. And then the engineering firm that designed the trusses, designed a truss rafter that would go on those bearing walls and accommodate that height, shift the peak of the roof from where it is now over to the center, which would make the same pitch on both sides, alleviating that slough in there that lets the water back up and lets it run inside the garage. But that was the whole plan, was to redesign that and reconfigure that whole thing. So you
I
guys
understand
can do
that.
what you want.
That last part that you described about the trusses and reconfiguring the roof pitch. Just again, spitballing here, if in the future there was some will on the part of the board, not will, but board will, to build new, I presume that the new building would have to go in a brand new footprint because you need to continue operating the road crew out of the existing building while new construction is going on. Am I correct?
Or there'd have to be some different accommodations made. And it also depends on what type of building you're planning on putting on. If you did like a steel building, those will tend to go up relatively fast. So you could be displaced for a short period of time, depending on how long it would take and if you did it in the summertime, that would be a lot easier as far as equipment outside and things like that. So I mean, there's different avenues that you can go, but if you went with like a steel building, there's companies that erect those and they go up fairly quick. So you'd have to look into that stuff.
Well, Tim, I gotta say, your sense of humor is on point. As a will on the board who, one thing we have to consider here, last meeting, the notion of, long-term 5-year, 10-year planning was brought up. And we have an opportunity here to potentially make a once in 30, 50-year investment into a new building. And, I think we have to consider the value of that going forward. Once you build a new building, we no longer have to worry about, a renovation, whether the renovation's holding, what other parts of the building need to be renovated, assuming, granted, the new building is built properly. So I think we really need to seriously consider the prospect of building new, and that's kind of where I lean right now in my head. Just because, this building is how old? Since the 70s? Jim, how old, do you know?
I believe so. I think, my understanding was it was early 70s.
So,
He started, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
53 years, 55 years?
The addition is what messed everything up. The addition is what messed everything up.
Originally, it was a fire department addition on the side of that. And so they added on to it. And then adding on to it, they changed the pitch of the roof. And now with what have you, it's not heated in that section. I think water backs up from ice and so on and so forth, and it leaks in that roof. because it will rain in there. I've got video of it raining inside the garage, right by a light fixture. So,
That'll work good.
yeah.
But the board has never gotten the price of what this renovation's gonna cost.
I had
Yeah, we
prices.
haven't received a bid.
I ended up I searched out different contractors and I got prices from contractors. I got a price from Trevor Bunnell, and I believe his price was like $175,000 at the time
This would have been to just fix the roof in the addition.
to do exactly the renovations that we had discussed.
What
Okay.
year is that? What year was that?
A couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Couldn't have been
Because I was
earlier.
put in
than
charge,
that.
I was put in charge of
Because those
seeking
trusses are
out
gonna cost that.
seeking out contractors and coming up with a scheme plan for the whole thing, and I did that, and then I was informed, after I went through all this, and met with 7 to 8, 9 contractors, and had some lined up, that then, forget that, now it's gotta go to town meeting, and have a vote on it, so nothing ever happened. So, in the meantime, it's been, 4 years now, and the mold issue continues, and it's not getting any better.
Time wasted.
And one thing that, comes to my mind with a new building is that, energy efficient construction rather, has made great leaps and bounds in the last 50 to 55 years. Jim, I know the building was heated with wood for a while, and then 10, 15, however many years ago, they switched to
15 years ago.
a diesel
it was
furnace.
wood, and then the insurance company ended up frowning on the wood stove inside there, so they ended up having to rip that out.
But like how, the current mainframe building, which we wouldn't be, addressing with this renovation, like how, obviously you've got the big bay doors that are open every now and then, so you're always gonna have a draft in the winter, but
Well,
do we think there are potential long-term energy cost savings by,
one of the big
building new?
issues that we have in that existing building right now is the electrical,
Mhm.
which I had spoken, when we were talking about doing this renovation, that was brought up. Because the way that it is right now, our electrical system, if we have loss of power, we can open the 4 garage doors, and that's it. We have no heat, we have no water, we have no electricity for lights. Can't even turn the lights on in there. It's wired up for 4 doors, that's it. Because we've run into that problem before. Storm in the winter, next thing you know, we don't have any heat, we don't have any water, we don't have any electricity for lights. All we can do is open the doors in order to get the trucks out.
you're saying you could open the doors without power or with generator power?
With the generator power, but the way that the electrical grid is set
Okay.
up. So that electrical system needs to be revamped
Mhm.
in order to be adequate for our needs.
Does the renovation address that?
No,
We had a discussion about it.
Okay, but the answer is no.
I believe so. I believe it's a
New building.
I don't know about that yet, but I sure would like to have better information than we're working with. I'm really concerned that despite Suki's best efforts, that this could be a blunder we're heading into blindly.
And I mean, you look at other towns recently that have built new state-of-the-art garages, like Burke was a prime example. I saw the photo of their old garage in the Caledonian before they, began the process of tearing it down. That thing was in a state, but, you look at ours and it's not too dissimilar. You've got, paint, you got rust on the siding, rot on the siding. And their new state-of-the-art facility was, I want to say somewhere in the realm of 2.3 million. I have that in my notes somewhere, but I don't think I have that with me.
Yeah, you'll put up a new one too.
And either Granby or Victory, one of those out in bog country.
They did. I think they did some more.
Okay, well, where do you wanna go? Do you wanna get what would be, well, my thinking is it would be nice to know what the renovation we're talking about. It'd be nice to know what, now Jim says 175,000, 2-3 years, probably 3.
I think I still got the bid sheet. I think I still got it in.
But the price of materials and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not even gonna be
It's not
remotely
even
close
worth
now.
looking
No,
at.
no.
Oh, no, I'm just saying,
Right.
you've got that, what the price would be now. And then maybe you've got a better basis to make a choice on, well, maybe we should, this is gonna cost, I don't know, whatever the figure is, but say $300,000 to renovate it. Is it worth spending $1.5 million to have a new facility? I don't know. Robin?
You guys have to set a date for this. This is like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Seriously. And he's working in a building that's got black mold. Thank God he has great insurance because that's bullshit. Like, I wouldn't be working there. Like, how long is it gonna take for somebody to come down with something? And then now the town's liable for it. Like, I know you guys are trying, but you literally have to set a date. Say, this is it. Like, and then you just decide then, get some numbers and do it.
Can an architect get you numbers for renovation versus the new building?
Yeah.
So you have something to compare about? I think that's what you need to do, is you go before the voters, and some of this money has to be spent by the end of the year that you have set aside for ARPA money. So you can't keep pushing it back. We pushed it for 4 years.
And if it's 50 years old, get rid of it. Like, start, if it's got wood, get something in there, so you don't have water, you don't have organic material, you're not gonna have mold anymore. Like, just start anew, because then it's gonna be 100 years old, or it's gonna be 70, and you guys are gonna be talking about it again.
Okay.
Logistically, how would we start the process of comparing costs and getting better information? Do we hire an architect for 5,000 or 10,000 and say, hey, just give us rough numbers right now? Or are we asking for actual plans and estimated costs?
I thought that's what we did with Wolf Associates.
No.
Just engineering.
Determine whether splicing, whether those old trusses.
Right. But Suki was saying the price difference for the all new trusses and the splicing in wasn't that much different.
Not a huge
So
amount
then
different.
we really should have gone for new trusses.
What was the what was it, design work cost?
10 grand.
So technically, if we actually wanted to say,
It was 4,000 something. I
I
believe.
thought it was 10 grand.
but that would be
Pretty
money
sure.
lost if we wanted to go a different route and build new, correct?
What's that?
That would be money lost.
They only
Yes.
looked at the renovation.
That's-
But they didn't give you a cost.
No, but we paid them 4,000 for work that maybe we wouldn't be able to use if we decided to build new.
It was just a structural assessment. He assessed the existing structure, and in order to add on to it, build onto it, he assessed that, is what he did. So if you go with new, you're throwing that out, that's no longer relevant.
That hurts, but I don't want to chase the sunk cost fallacy.
But if you hire an architect to design the renovation, and then you just still decide to go new, that's more money that you've lost. You could, maybe they could, I don't know, I could talk with them again and see if there is, to look at it and to give you, how much would it cost to look at it, from a renovation point of view, and just give a rough estimate.
Just tell us what the one that's going out for bid shortly, just tell us what that ended up being, because that could be, we could do a cookie cutter, we could do the same or similar design
That's what I was thinking.
from the same firm.
Right, just tell them to give you the set of blueprints that they need for those guys.
Exactly.
Not to make this more complicated, but if we were to build a new, road garage, would we also be considering building in the town offices there?
There was a discussion at one time.
That was looked at years ago.
After that. Yeah, that was gonna be an 8 million.
Right.
And that was about combining, that was just about combining the town office with the fire department, right?
And we spent like 50,000 just on, engineers.
Well, good lord.
So your engineering is going to be, was it the town of Wheelock
just got a grant for 15 or 17,000 to do their town garage.
Mhm.
And that was just the engineering cost, and there probably was only 80% with a 20% kick in. So you're looking at 20,000 just for engineering costs.
Mhm.
And I can tell you right now that your building costs are underestimate. My daughter's building a house and it's 350 to build a house, square foot right now. So,
Well, we'll see when the bids come in. That's what he told me they used for an estimate.
yeah.
And I would think they're in the
And you're
business.
gonna have to upgrade the septic? Any ideas about that?
I don't believe so.
No?
The septic is,
Yeah.
at some point in time, that's gonna have to be redone anyways. There's two, but neither one of them is, I mean,
I don't think they're getting weeds.
that'll be down the road.
You would have to get a new well, if I remember correctly, from talking to them, because you got two on there now.
Say again?
You got the fire department and the old garage, so unless you took the old garage off,
They want
put it
separate
into a
wells.
new one, you'd need a new well. I know that.
You can't share a real well.
You can only share so many times. If you do that, then you become a municipal water.
Yeah.
And you have to go through all the garbage that goes. Having your water tested and having somebody certified.
You don't wanna do that.
Bang, bang, bang.
Right.
So. It isn't quite as simple as just building a building.
Right.
Not even close.
I just have to ask a really naive question though. It sounds like everybody's been rebuilding their town garages, or a lot of people have. 3-bay, 5-bay. What's the difference between the 3-bay we would be looking for versus, what was it, Coventry and other locations that have built a 3-bay? I mean, isn't this just design it and be done? What's good for one place is good for another?
Not necessarily.
It depends on what equipment we have.
How much equipment does everybody have? What size equipment does everybody have?
Right.
Not everybody has 10-wheel dump trucks. So, yeah, you were on the select board in Barnet. and
On
you
this
were-
model for 7 years before we
Right.
had to do the garage, and then
It's
Yeah.
not something you snap your fingers and get done tomorrow. It's not gonna
I
happen.
believe that.
It may not be something we can snap our fingers and have done tomorrow like Mary Poppins, but it's certainly something that we can make concrete steps to advancing.
I'd start looking at your financing. How are you gonna finance this? A bond?
Bond
What?
bank.
Where's it coming from? Are you just gonna throw 150, 200, or $1 million onto the tax revenue? You gotta know where your funding is coming from long before. You can have all of the dreams in the world of what you're gonna build, but if you have no
I have a
money, you
meeting
do
Monday.
nothing.
I have a meeting on January 28th. I have a meeting with the guy who runs the Vermont Bond Bank to discuss financing for Waterford, so.
What does that mean if we were just sort of licking our lips at a project?
the buildings that I was looking at, is 30-year financing, 3.56 interest rate. I'll know more after I talk to this guy and see what I was thinking about refinancing for FEMA, but I don't know how FEMA's gonna come along. But they do finance building equipment.
What's the agency again, and who's the person?
It's Vermont Bond Bank. Well, Vermont Municipal Bond Bank. But I think before you can even do anything with that garage, you're gonna need a set of plans. Without any plans, there isn't anybody gonna bid on it. We've already been through this. They've gotta see plans to be able to know what to bid on. Are you gonna redo the whole outside? You just gonna do the roof and leave the outside looking like it is? You gonna redo you start changing the roof, are you gonna do all the electrical at the same time? You gotta get somebody that's involved, who's got a clue about construction.
Now, logistically, if we were actually talking about hiring an architect to get this ball rolling, and let's just say, for the sake of the argument, the number's 25,000, I presume the town budget in March voted on would have to increase by that much as well, yeah? Or are there funds or
Well,
grants that pay for this?
We have some money in purchasing fund, we could use.
There is,
The ARPA
there's,
money has to be spent.
yeah, and that's
7,000,
27,000.
something like that, I can't remember.
So the money's right there. Is the ARPA money earmarked for anything else right now?
It's
It's
earmarked for the town garage.
For the renovation.
Which we can use for, to spend on
Architectural
architectural plans, yeah.
Oh, good lord.
I mean, if you can find somebody who would do some plans on fixing this one up and give us a cost, or give us a cost on a new one. I mean, if they're built, if BH Danson just did one, then they know basically what that's gonna cost. So it shouldn't take them too awful long. If they can look at the renovation and say, okay, how much is it gonna cost to do this renovation?
Yeah, I mean,
Give
I
us a-
certainly can talk with him again to see renovations, what it would, but, if they could give us a ballpark figure for that, rather than go into the complete design of it. If they tell us it's gonna be, I don't know, just pick a number out of the air, 500,000 to put a new roof on and whatever else needs to be done, as opposed to,
2.5 million or whatever for a new one. Then you've
well,
got-
I don't think it'd be 2.5 million for a new one based on what he told me, the number I had this past summer, it was more like a little over 1.4 million for a new one the same size.
Whatever, yeah.
What he gave us, what he gave me the other day, is a little over, is between 1.5 and 1.6. And I don't know if that's just gone up since last summer, they're projecting. I don't know, but
That's the number that comes out of your $325 per square foot. It's 1.56 million.
where it was 1.44 before, the number they gave me last year.
But is that just building, or does that include electrical, does that include mechanical?
No, that's
just building.
No,
No, that's building,
No,
that's
that's-
a finished building,
that's finished building.
but probably not the design.
Not
inspection,
design and,
Which you're saying
inspection.
is a six-figure number.
Yeah.
Which can be 100,000 or 200,000, both of those have six
or
numbers.
999, so it's like, I don't think so, but,
Right,
I can talk with him again and then we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Marcel will have more information about, bonds, and, I'll see what I can find out and we can go from there. But,
Just
yeah,
walk me through the timeline. If the board really wanted to light a fire under building new, would that be happening in 2026? Or is that
No
too
way.
fast? No way?
it's gotta
If the
go in
board wanted to
front of
renovate
town.
in 2026, can that happen?
Yes,
Maybe.
maybe, yeah.
but to build new, you're talking $1.5 million plus dollars, you're gonna have to put that in front of the town for a vote.
That's the point, right?
Whereas the renovation, the town knows about the renovation and has set aside some money towards it. We just don't have a dollar value on what it will cost.
Okay,
So is there a decision tonight about hiring an architect and using ARPA funds to fund it?
Well.
I would, yeah, go ahead.
I would make a motion that we, hire an architect to drop plans for a new building, but do we even, I feel like this isn't just something we can go to an architect and say, hey, drop plans for a new X-Bay garage. I feel like we have to provide them with, a little bit more specs of what we want.
Yeah, that's
And
part
down
of
the
the
road,
design process.
one cycle and hear back from Marcel about potential funding issues.
Mm-hmm.
And in the
Funding is
meantime,
the
reach out to Burke, Sheffield. I know Cabot did theirs a few years ago, a new garage, and they're, dealing with what to do right now with the footing of their old garage. But reach out to those towns and ask if they have, I don't know if they would, I don't know if you keep blueprints on file for something like that in a
They're not
municipal
gonna give you
office
those.
or, no, but,
Not if they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Plus, every building site's different.
yes.
So you have to do geological on the ground to figure out how, for footings and,
No, I don't agree with that.
But we can at least, you know,
No, you
look,
can't ignore the foundation.
ask and look and see, okay, what did you get? How much did you pay? Like, what were any, you know, issues you ran into? Like,
They may not give us the plans, but I wonder if they'd let us look at their plans.
yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, kind of like you do down
sure.
here, set an appointment, you know, at the vault to,
I still have the plans downstairs for the fire station. Which is almost adequate.
So maybe the thing to do here is to communicate among ourselves, just to divvy up tasks to bring to the next meeting, but no other action otherwise.
Yeah. So does someone, I mean, what people want, we're gonna get some information, I guess, from Marcel on funding possibilities. I've talked with this architect, I can talk with him about if there's a way of getting rough, you know, a rough estimate
On the renovation.
on the renovation. I don't know if there is, but it doesn't hurt to ask. You know, he gave me,
Oh, I'm sure he could take the size of the building and figure out what it's gonna cost to build the wall, put the truss up, sheathe it, put tin on it. I'm sure he could come up with a number.
And electric.
Yeah, very well.
and I don't know if some of the rest of the board wants to reach out to these other towns or.
Yeah, I'm happy to get on the phone. Does anybody else want to like split up this list here and potential other locations that we discover in the process? All right, just to throw it out there, I would be happy to call Burke and Sheffield to start gleaning information.
I'll reach out to Cabot and whichever one of the Victory Granby towns, it might have been both.
They got, remember that that grant left over, that they had that grant for small municipalities, that hundreds of thousands of dollars that we didn't apply for. And they ended up, Victory got a couple $100,000, Granby got a couple $100,000, for the specific purpose of renovations. It was all for buildings.
Okay.
And, I believe that those places were for new roof, windows, stuff like that. I don't believe it was for a new structure.
Okay. I mean,
Those municipalities.
worth looking into nonetheless,
Yeah, right.
potentially.
I think that by starting the conversation, they may have names of other people or other architects that have helped municipalities along the way. You just don't know until you start asking questions.
You've got Black River, you've got D.H. Danson, the two bigger ones around the area.
I didn't catch your name back there you're on the Barnes Select Board. Are you Mr. Robinson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long ago did you guys, you said you dealt with this over a 7-year process. How long ago did you?
We built that in 2006, I think we had completion.
Okay, so quite some time ago. Okay.
We started with a structural engineer, and we actually went from there. Our plans were kind of self-devised as we went. And then we got an architect to get in to do, the concrete was pretty elaborate. And actually, it was probably one of the last big structures, St. Johnsbury Academy, building trades. They come in and did everything to a certain height, and then we had a commercial crew come in and did all the rafters and roof work. We couldn't get the kids off the ground that time.
Oh.
It worked out good for us, but it was a long time in the making. It was not, you know, we did a building appropriation fund, and I think we contributed that at town meeting for 9 years before we built the garage.
How much
So
were
when
you?
we built the garage, the day we moved into the garage, we'd appropriated enough funds prior to building the garage, so the people that wanted it, were the ones that paid.
How much were you appropriating roughly per year?
Well, it
This is in
started at
2006.
50,000 and it moved up towards 100.
Okay.
Wow.
And then we had some other funds that come down through the channels of the state and a couple other things that kind of put us over the top. So it was a timing thing, it worked out. But now I can tell you the town offices they just done wasn't that way. That was a whole other can of worms. It took
The
a
what?
long time.
The what?
We took a lot, there was another can of worms that took a long time. We looked at all the buildings in town, we didn't want to own any more buildings.
Mhm.
You know, you had so many buildings in town, and so we ended up at the old town hall. I don't know if you've been there and seen the renovations there.
Yeah.
They did a pretty nice job for
They did.
what they were working with. We had to delete out some stuff, like the building down in McIndoos and some other ideas, new construction. It sounded nice, but it just didn't kind of fit the town. You know, not when we had that old town hall, we had to do something with, so they kind of aborted the idea. And new construction would have been nice to get you some things, but it didn't get you all the things, you know? So anyways, it's a process. You don't just, it isn't like building your house where you hire a contractor and he shows up and you build your house. And if you don't like where the windows are, you tell them to move. I mean, it has to be it's a process.
Okay.
Marcel, you mentioned that 30-year financing at 3.56%. Is that per month or per year, the interest?
Per year. I mean,
Per year.
you don't imagine annually. You either make an annual payment or make a monthly payment, it doesn't.
I'm just curious how, like, what period of time the interest rate, applies. So it's my guess was annual, but I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Stan Robinson.
Stan, Tim. Just for grins, what was your 2006 final cost?
I'm going on that.
Okay,
I'd be lying to you if I said I knew.
yeah, but am I hearing this correctly that you had already collected the funds?
Yeah, yes, because it was a long process. With the garage we were operating out of was every bit as bad or worse than the one you had there. It was horrendous.
You knew it was coming, so you started saving money.
Exactly, years in advance.
Yep, good thinking.
All right, so is that enough of a plan?
That's to get started, yeah.
Okay, so we'll put on the next agenda.
Beauty.
Quick question, what is our next meeting?
It's a good question. Are we having one in 2 weeks, or are we having a regular meeting? Just go with our regular meeting in February.
Is there something coming up that needs quick attention in 2 weeks?
The only reason I bring it up is that
Normally
I will
it's
not
February
be
9th.
I will not be available for the regular meeting in February. I'll be out of the
February 9th.
country.
February 9th is our
Yeah.
next regular meeting.
Do we want or need one?
I don't see a need right now. Do you?
No, and then we have the February 20 whatever for the
Pre-meeting.
pre-meeting, the pre-town meeting.
So if you're not available, Will, maybe you could, email, you could let us know what you've discovered
Yeah.
in your assignment.
I'd be more than happy to write something up.
Okay. All right. So did I hear we're just going with February 9th?
Unless we come up with something that requires our
Okay,
similar attention.
I think that's correct.
all right. Next up is gravel crushing bids. Yes, that's not it.
Ooh, Ron, you're right on the money time-wise.
We save money.
7:40. No, I'm sorry, you're 10 minutes behind.
I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Okay, the first bid is from J.A. McDonald Incorporated. They bid on option one only. Option one is,
With or without delivery.
without delivery, stockpiled for pickup by town.
Okay.
$10.75 per cubic yard, 10,000 cubic yards, so 107,500.
Okay.
Manchester Brook Materials.
What was the name?
J.A. McDonald.
That was the first one. Didn't you open the second one?
He's opening the second one. Oh, this one, Manchester Brook Materials.
Thank you.
Manchester Brick Materials bid on, they bid on both. Option one, stockpile for pickup by town is $6.43 per cubic yard.
Wow.
For a total of 64,300. Option two is loaded, hauled, and stockpiled at the town garage, in addition to the crushing, is $8.43 per cubic yard, for a total of $84,300.
So did we read the J.A. McDonald one wrong? Was that $10.75
Per yard.
Per cubic yard.
Okay, I wrote 1,075 instead of 1075.
One other thing I forgot to read off, we asked for the, as we did last time, the jaw opening of the crusher. Manchester Brook, 26 by 50. And J.A. McDonald did not give us a jaw opening. Jim, do you know if that's the same jaw opening that they?
I would imagine that it is.
Yeah.
What did we pay last time, Jim? What did
It
we
was
pay?
62,500, I believe.
So their price didn't go up much.
The price didn't go up.
64.7, I think. Is what Heather told me just before the
And
meeting.
that was delivered, right, Jim?
No, that was.
That was the stockpile.
We stockpiled it.
And did you have a preference, Jim, on stockpiling it or having it delivered? Are you able to?
Ideally, depending on the workload, I think for the difference in price, we'd be better off doing it ourselves.
Okay,
More
to save the
cost-effective.
$20,000.
I don't really, I would like to see them stockpile it, so it would give us time with the 3-man crew to do other things. But I think cost effective wise,
20 grand.
I think that we should do it ourselves.
Okay.
How big is a truck load of material to our site, the town's truck?
14 yards.
Just 14?
Yep.
So, what are we talking, 10,000 yards is a lot of trips.
That's a lot
Yes,
of
it is. Yes, it is. And it takes a fair amount of time.
Huh,
You're getting probably 60 to 80 loads a
You know where the
day.
gravel pit is,
I
right?
don't. Is it
Just,
Pike?
just right up the road.
It's no more than
Yeah.
200 feet down the road.
It's right next to the fire department.
Is that the Pike yard?
No, it's the property that's owned by a townsperson, but we have the rights to the gravel.
Okay.
It's just on the other side of the fire department, so it's very, very close, but still, that's a lot
Yeah,
of.
you gotta load the truck and unload it, and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's not a nothing.
Were those
It
the only
takes
two
a-
bids,
takes a
Ron?
fair amount of
What's
time.
that?
Were those the only two bids?
Those are the only two bids. I contacted a third company, Simpson Dirt Works. I left a message for him. I left the message what it was about. you know, there was, to bid, I believe they were one of the bidders last time. I told them what I was calling about, and they never returned my call.
Okay.
So those were the,
Ron,
yes,
over the years, there's been talk about Kevin's pit being
Refilled.
worked out. Are we anywhere near? I know you're also looking for fresh places.
Yeah, I found the property line, and it goes back further than what I
So
thought.
we get enough for this year.
Yeah, you gotta strip it all, which I did last time, and I'll have to do it again this year, but, depending on what the floor does. It was coming up because of clay, but then the last time that they pressed, they said it was going back down. So if it stays true to what it is now, I would expect that we could crush in there probably 2 to 3 more times.
Okay. What was the number 26 by 50? What does that mean?
That's the job size. That's what, size rock it can handle. So you have 26 feet wide, you have 50 inches long. You can take a rock that's just smaller than that and it stuffs it in there and it'll smash it.
You said 26 feet. Did you mean
26 inches?
26 inches?
26 by 50 inches.
Got it. Thanks.
yeah, and so if it's anything bigger than that, they have to cast it off to the side.
That's right. But I felt it was important to get a fairly large jaw simply because, we have a limited supply of gravel there. And we do have a fair amount of oversized rock. And the smaller the jaw, the more stone has to be cast to the side. Hence, we lose our yardage, and we don't maximize that.
And that's a good size, 26 by 50?
It worked good. It worked good for the stone that we were running. I had no complaints with it.
So unless I'm missing something, it sounds like Manchester Brook Materials is what we're considering, but we choose option 1 or option 2 delivered.
We just discussed that, and we think it's probably financially better if Jim, even though it's a lot of extra work, to save the $20,000, Jim was saying he would go with option 1.
And I presume the thing,
You've got to weigh that. I mean, there's a 3-man crew. We've got a lot to do. But also you're already, you own the trucks, you're paying the guys. So, I mean, it's more cost effective for us to do it versus out of pocket expense. You're gonna incur another, a fair amount of money out the door when we could do it ourselves and save money.
I presume the thinking is that if there's any slack time, not that there's much, I understand, but if there's any slack time, then you do the material transfer.
Just do it every day. No, we have to do it every day.
Oh, yeah.
They're crushing.
Oh, I see.
They're crushing. They're stockpiling material. You gotta be on it all day long.
So we're hoping that there's not gonna be a weather emergency in that period.
Exactly.
Well, and timing wise with this, if you requested a June 30th deadline, I presume they wouldn't start doing anything serious until after the ground thaws. So we're talking.
Oh, no, they can't.
Yes, so we're talking like post mud season, like prime grading season.
Yeah.
You reckon, I know grading is usually like at least a 2-person job. You have one in the grader, one in the, one running loads of material. You think that you'd have that 3rd person available
Well,
to?
basically, I'll work with him. Weather permitting, there's factors involved in this. I'll work with him. We're, as far as I'm concerned, we're not gonna basically have that set in stone. We're gonna end up having something that's gonna work for both of us, that's gonna work the best for both of us, and it'll, we'll set it up so that the time frame works to haul it ourselves.
How long does it take?
On and so forth, but good going.
So I'm gonna make a motion.
Yeah.
Dave, you had a question first?
The question you're asking Jim about helping trucking that stuff. When he's grading, he's often adding new material, which the other 2 guys are gonna be hauling right back and forth with that new stuff so that he can be smoothing it out on whatever road. So if he's grading, he's not hauling fresh crushed stuff from A to B.
We still have a
Synergy
fair
right
amount
there.
of resurfacing to do. We still have roads out there from the damage in 2024 that need resurfacing before we can adequately grade it, because there's just no material there to grade.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept Manchester Brook Materials option 1 bid at $6.43 per cubic yard.
For 10,000 cubic yards.
I will second that.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of accepting Manchester Brook Materials bid for option 1, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
The only thing I would like to say before we move on is Mr. Morrison made a good point earlier, and I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but we got to start thinking about the future, those, and ideal circumstances, right? We get 2 or 3 more crushes. Maybe we only get 1 more crush, and then per laws, we have to return that pit to the state it was originally in. Like we have to fill it. Now, I'm not sure you hire a firm to do that. Is that something?
I don't think you have to refill a pit.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
That
Yeah.
250
No, I
requires.
mean, if you take out all these hundreds of thousands of yards, you don't have to, they are refilling the edge towards the fire station. But if you go look at places where they've taken out hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of yards, we had this discussion before. On the person's place, which is Kevin's grandfather, they pushed all that sod, topsoil, they pushed that all up. When Finoff gets all done in there, or is Heath done in there too?
No, it's Josh.
Josh all done it, Heath was in there one time.
Yeah.
Jim can correct me, but I work for Presby over in New Hampshire, and Lisbon and, mostly Lisbon, is just full of these pits where they took out, must be hundreds of thousands of yards. They just put the topsoil back on, so there's something to grow grass or whatever. But, and that's what excavation is all about, you took it away. It isn't like you've gotta run around and, Jim is refilling the edge of that with stuff he digs out of ditches, and sources I don't even know about. So that lip, so to speak, keeps working back towards where they're actually crushing out of now. And of course, there's a little pond down in there. But it isn't like you have to refill it. Finn's not gonna refill that.
You have to come pretty close to refilling it.
yeah, some that you do, but we don't really need to.
No, but
that,
I share the same understanding with you, Mr. Allard, that per Act 250, there's a little bit of legwork we have to do to refill it.
You might have been able to do that 60, 70 years ago, but
Yeah.
not anymore.
But the question also is, what's the time frame?
Right. It can also be at a different.
Because it is getting filled, it is getting filled back in.
And you might want to look at your agreement with Mr. Delander.
Right.
Yeah.
At 10 cents a yard, you got pretty cheap gravel.
Yeah, so you're saying like the next material run we do afterwards is gonna be a jump in,
Yeah, the town's gonna be in sustained shock unless you purchase a property somewhere that has gravel on it. But if you have to go to a fresh stone product, I did the calculations at one point in time, you're getting the material for 10 cents a yard, your crushing cost is what you see before you. But if you end up buying material off of, say, Pike, granted, it's a better quality material, but you're looking at $13, $14 a ton, which a ton is about 1.34 yards. So it's more than a yard. So your cost associated with that is gonna skyrocket.
Okay, I think
I agree with that.
yeah, let's move on to the next. Next thing up is Smith Road, possible discontinuance, and I'll turn this over to Will because he was the one who asked to have it put on the agenda.
Thank you, Ron. So first, I think we should start by going over what exactly this agenda item is and isn't. This agenda item is not a decision that we make tonight that's final on reclassifying, discontinuing, or otherwise to the road. This would be us starting the process, and the process is quite lengthy. What the process entails when you reclassify or discontinue a road or lay one out, Once you begin the process, you appoint a time and date, both for examining the premises and hearing interested persons. Interested persons is defined as property owners or persons who are interested in obtaining property along said road or proposed road. You have to give them 30 days notice by mail that you're going to be doing a physical site meeting and a hearing. So you'd have to do a site visit no sooner than 30 days after the process is started, and then a hearing sometime thereafter to once again hear from the interested persons. And then within 60 days after the site visit and the hearing, if the select board chooses to reclassify or discontinue, those same interested parties have to be notified by mail, and in order to discontinue or reclassify, it has to be recorded with the town clerk's office. That being said, let's move on to what exactly Smith Road is. So Smith Road, for those who are unfamiliar, is located in the village of Passumpsic. The Waterford, a section of it is in Waterford, a section of it is in Barnet. The section in Waterford is a public road, a town highway 44. The Waterford section is about 200 feet long. And the Barnet section is a private road that is roughly 600 to 800 feet long, probably closer to 600. The road itself was not declared a town highway. It did not appear on town maps until 1965. Down in the vault downstairs, there is a document called the Book of Roads that essentially from 1803 to present delineates roads that have been, laid out, their surveys, noted in tables, whether or not a road was discontinued, et cetera. And it's supposed to be updated whenever something like this happens. There is no record in there of Smith Road having ever been laid out, surveyed. That doesn't mean it's not a town highway, since it's been in operation for 30 years, and that's the understanding that it's been a town highway. It is therefore a town highway. So that technicality doesn't change anything, but it is interesting that it was never recorded. What's also worth noting is that on the Barnet side, it has never been a public highway. I'm not sure if it was ever discussed to upgrade that to a public highway. I haven't done any research into that yet. That's something I am going to look into when I get a chance. But essentially, what we have to decide is why we would consider reclassifying or discontinuing a road. So in order for a road to be discontinued, the select board has the power to do that. Where's my note on this? There are three essential, characteristics that we have to determine if we're going to discontinue or reclassify. One is convenience, one is the public good, and another is necessity. So there's three conditions that we have to look at. There's the public good, convenience, and necessity. So when you look at this road, it's essentially 200 feet that was laid out on the property of Mr. Stanley Robinson. The road right-of-way itself is contained entirely on his property. And you have essentially 200 feet of what is currently designated as Class 3 road that the town of Waterford is responsible for grading and winter maintenance, plowing, sanding, etc. And it's located a half a mile from the nearest town road. It's kind of its own little maintenance exclave, if you will. It's not connected to another town road. It's connected to US Route 5, which then connects through another road in Barnet onto what is Hale Road.
Is this Smith Road right here on the non-river side of Route 5?
Yes, it is. That's exactly where it is. It's just north of Passumpsic Village as you're going on the road up to the Union Baptist School.
Which part of it is Waterford property?
The top part. So essentially the northern approach in off of US Route 5, and then it passes in front of Mr. Robinson's house, and then it meets the town line.
Yeah,
So-
I'll get to you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when it comes to these three conditions that we have to satisfy, right? Public good, convenience, and necessity.
Excuse me, does what you guys wanted to say, should it be said now, or can we wait till Will ends
I
this?
just wanna clarify that the road goes up past the Robinsons.
So,
Wait a minute, hang on. For meeting purposes, who are you?
Well, it's the Foreigner.
Are you a Waterford resident?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
on Smith Road.
Okay,
Can you repeat your last name?
Foreigner.
Fournier.
Thank you.
you must be right at the corner where it bends south.
No, so I'm in between Jen Robinson and
The
Ken.
Titus.
Yeah, Titus, yep. So the the town line goes diagonal in through my house.
There's some weird
Yes.
boundaries going on here.
David, what,
Well, this is part theory, and I'm pleased to meet Stan. I've known of him for all my life, and here he is. And Gary may be able to speak to this. Yvonne Jaguar lived right there, and Yvonne was our road foreman. Early on, he was one of Morris Pelletier's employees, from 52 or 53 on. And that might have had something to do with why that became a Waterford public road. Just like if you go up Hill Road, the reason there's a section of it that's so damn nice is because Dean Roseland was a selectman.
So I don't want to get too lost in the
we don't
weeds
need
of this, because it has no like merit on whether or not we should discontinue it, but
You were wondering what the history was. I think that might be your answer.
so Yvonne Jaguar purchased what is now Mr. Robinson's property in 1961, April of 1961, from the DeRochers. I'm sorry, it is listed on the tax map under his name.
could
But-
we just have one conversation going on in the room, please?
So in 1961, that was when the property was deeded over, at least the lower lot on Route 5 was deeded over to Yvonne Jaguar in 1961. 1965 was when the road was classified and designated as a town highway. So there is no written record of the road ever having been surveyed or laid out, and they only have select board meeting minutes starting in 1970 from what we could find in the limited time I had in the vault.
Is it class 4? Well,
I believe it's 3.
Class 3.
I believe it's 3. So the first description in any document that I could find of Town Highway 44 was in a separate property deed, which I believe was for the upper property on the other side of the road, that was also deeded from the DeRochers to Yvonne Jaguar. That was in April of 1978 was when that property was transferred over. And that has a description of the town highway, and that's where it says that the right-of-way is located entirely on that lot, which is now your lot. And it doesn't straddle the line of any other property owner in Waterford. As far as the exact location of the town line intersects that road on the corner of Robinson's lot. This is how it is laid out in property deeds downstairs. So
Yeah, if you're going by the tax map, that's not correct.
It's not.
That's not updated.
I'm not looking at the tax map, Mr. Allard. I went into the town vault and looked at.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you looked at the map,
Yes.
and you'll see that there's 3 parcels of land there, correct?
So there are 3 parcels of land, one of which is kind of a diagonal corner slice, probably about the size of this room, that has frontage on Route 5, but does not have frontage on the Waterford side of Smith Road.
So if you throw up the road, now you have a landlocked piece of property? Is that what you're telling us?
Well, so landlocked how? It has frontage on Route 5, but the Barnett section of that property still has access to, and the right of way for the Barnett side of Smith Road actually runs through that lot. So they still have access from that side.
You're saying that there's 200 feet of road, that's reason enough to throw it. Your purpose in throwing it up, is it saving money?
Not necessarily. That is one component
So why are we
thereof.
doing it?
So I'm getting there, Mr. Alec, if you'll give me a second. So again, there are these three conditions we have to satisfy. There's public good, convenience, and necessity. So the public good, when it comes to maintaining this road, and I asked Jim here tonight to kind of fill in on the details and the technical aspects that I don't have the proper terminology for perhaps. Maintaining this road is somewhat of a safety hazard, because if you want to use a vehicle that the town has, there's only one vehicle that the highway department has, Jim, correct? That can get in and out of there, and that's the 1-ton truck for maintenance?
That's the safest one.
Yeah.
See, originally, we used to maintain that whole road.
Mm-hmm.
The ideal situation was go in on his side and come out on the other side.
Which side is best to go in, the south or the north side?
The north side.
Yeah.
Because if you've got your plow on one of those big trucks, it's sticking from me to David. And if you come out of Smith Road on the north end, by the time you can see, your plow's way out in the road.
There's a blind corner on Route 5.
So the ideal scenario was always to go in Smith Road on his end and then come out on the other end. That way you're coming down the hill, you can see in order to get back onto Route 5.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being a private road now, in Barnet, we're not supposed to be over there. So we have to turn around on the Waterford side, which Stanley had said, I spoke with him about it. He said that we could turn around in his daughter's driveway. Sometimes that works good, sometimes it's not so good. So the best case that we found, since the road has been discontinued, so to speak, on the other end, is to take the 1-ton down there, because that's plows real short on that. You don't have to worry about coming out onto Route 5 as much. Plow it with a 1-ton, but we don't use the 1-ton for sand, we use it for salt. Because the way that the sander's set up now, if you put sand in there and it jams it right up and it won't come out. So then we have to send another vehicle down there in order to sand it. So that's just where we're at.
And when you say you have to send another vehicle down there, it's 6 miles one direction from that place to the town garage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were next nearest road is River Road, you'd be down there with the 10 wheeler.
If they happen to be there, they can go over there. But as a rule, they do their own routes. They do the routes first with the big trucks, and then we go around, and then they come back. They grab the 1-ton and then run over there.
Mm-hmm. So it essentially takes a while. It's going to take a while for them to get to that part of town.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're essentially going to be the last one to get, plowed out or sanded or what have you.
You've heard of that.
Which we are anyway.
As far as summer maintenance, in order to say grade that road to a Class 3 standard, you can't take the grader in there. That's
Yeah,
too big a
you can,
vehicle.
but it doesn't,
Well,
it's
that's-
not that best case scenario.
Mhm.
Class 3 or class 4?
If you want.
So
Smith Road.
So when you say it's not the best case scenario, how would it
Well,
be?
you've got a 60 foot grader that you're trying to fit.
I'm more getting at what piece of equipment would you use to be able to do that
Use the
maintenance?
grader,
Mhm.
but it's not the best case scenario to
Mhm.
grade that little short section.
Okay.
Gary?
Oh, wait, I had my hand up here.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. How does the Sumsec take care of its roads?
That's the town of Barnet.
That's the town of Barnet?
Mm.
Why couldn't we just say Barnet to take care of this short section of road?
So
It's private road.
Private road.
the Smith Road on the Barnett side has never appeared on a official town of Barnett road map as being a town highway. If you go on the V-Trans website, they have all of the road maps that towns have to regularly submit to the state. And it has never once appeared on there as a public highway. It's
Is that
appeared
a
on there in recent
showstopper?
years as a private road. What?
Is that a showstopper?
Well, what do you mean a showstopper?
I mean, we couldn't contract with Barnett to take care of this and relieve ourselves of it?
Barnett doesn't take care of their end is what we're trying to tell you.
Oh,
It's
I
a
see,
private
private.
road.
Yes.
So how does the rest of the road get taken care of?
Jim, I believe you were under the understanding that it wasn't, was it?
Yeah,
He's been snowblowing it. He's been snowblowing it.
Back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
The south, the egress when you come out.
Mhm.
Dennis Whitehall took care of that. Dennis run his firewood operation in the back, he built his house, and for years and years, and years, after Lucian Rush, you get out of there, Dennis took care of that. And you guys come around the other way and got a deal.
Right.
Dennis passed away.
Right.
Sherry hired Daryl does that, does Jen's. But these people come and go. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why we are, because obviously there's a good old boy system, that's the only reason it came around.
Exactly.
You go back to the beginning, I mean,
Yeah, never be wrong.
absolutely.
Okay, Gary?
Okay, if it's about saving time, saving money, and you got Daryl doing the road, why don't the town just contract with Daryl to plow that little 200 feet? If it's only 200 feet, it's not going to be a ridiculous amount of money.
He's already there.
How much money is it going to cost you to rewrite deeds? And is the road a deeded right of way? Or is it just an easement across their property? I mean, if you're just gonna do this and you're worried about saving time, then hire Daryl to do it. He's down there doing 2/3 of the road anyway, and you're saying it's only 200 feet. You wanna throw up a road. You haven't seen pitchforks and torches until you mention the word throw up a road in this town. Because I've been through several of those, and if you wanna see it, just go down that road, because this place will be full with 100 people, and there won't be one of them, we're gonna let you walk out of here unscathed, okay?
If your intention is to scare or intimidate me from taking action here, Mr. Allard, I'll have you know that I'm not scared. I don't feel intimidated by anyone that would have. If you will let me finish, please, sir. If you will let me finish and be respectful, I would appreciate it.
Well, I don't, you're not the chair, he is, okay?
Yeah.
So learn your place.
So here's the thing. I'm not scared of that. This is a conversation that needs to happen. I believe it can happen in a respectful manner, right?
Okay.
And so, people being upset and having their claims to, hey, I want, this is my road I live on, like, they have that right to speak. I want to hear from them. I'm not scared of that.
There.
I know, exactly. I'm not scared of this.
I've been trying to talk and I feel like I can't talk. and so you're saying that like there's only 200 feet and the town road, town highway, whatever goes through their property, then there's a section of the road that it's not Barnett or Waterford. So who is that road?
What do you mean?
Is that just mine?
A section that's neither Barnett nor.
Well, you said that there was at the corner of their property is town Waterford,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes, the back corner on Route 5.
Right, so I've also gone to town of Barnett, and when they came over, the road commissioner for them, they have stated it's diagonal through my property,
Mhm.
which then goes right before my mailbox.
Mhm.
So there, as I'm understanding correctly, which I could be wrong, but it sounds like the corner of Jen's and Sam's property is the Waterford line, which is not correct.
No, what I saw in maps downstairs and on the tax map here is that the Waterford line is actually still on the Robinson property, and there's a small corner of the Robinson property that's in Barnett technically.
Okay. I just wanted to be.
Is that the understanding you had?
More of the road goes further, but yes.
Yes.
Like,
You get 2 tax bills.
we sure do.
Yeah.
We sure do.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
you'll vote.
Oh,
Okay.
that's why I've been to both town meetings.
so you have, this public good, this safety hazard potentially when using large equipment. You have convenience of maintenance. Now we get into the third thing you have to consider, which is necessity. And necessity is very specifically defined in statute, Title 19, subsection 501 as a reasonable need which considers the greatest good and the least inconvenience and expense to the condemning party and the property owner. Necessity is not merely expense or convenience to the condemning party. And when determining necessity, the statute outlines several key factors that all of which the select board has to address. There's the adequacy of other property and locations. Primarily that's meant for laying out of roads rather than discontinuing roads. Cultivated and agricultural land which may be taken or rendered unfit for use. Again, that's primarily for laying out of roads, but the process is the same either way. Effect on home or homestead rights and convenience of landowner has to be considered. Effect of highway on scenic and recreational values thereof. Again, that's not totally relevant here because we're not laying out a road. There's a need to accommodate utility installations and easements, a need to mitigate environmental impacts of highway construction or declassification, discontinuance, and effect upon the town grand list and revenues. So these are the things that we would have to consider in this process. And it's again worth noting that this is a preliminary discussion to begin the process. We could very well begin the process, have all these meetings and determine that this is not a good idea. This is not in the town's best interest. One of these three, criterion isn't being met. But essentially on paper, you take away the human element, it doesn't make sense that for this to be a town road if it's 200 feet and the section that's in the adjoining town is private. But then when you add the human factor, that's where the discussion has to happen. Again, that's why, Mrs. Fournier and the Robinsons are here. That's why we have to have this discussion because, it's something worth discussing, in my opinion.
Well, are you reading from 19 V.S.A. sections 711 through 13?
I am, yes. So specifically, there are a couple other things to be considered here within that, Title 19 subsection in the 710s. So under subsection 717C, adjoining landowners are those whose sole access to a parcel of land or portion thereof owned, they shall retain a private right of way over the former road if it is declassified or discontinued. So that doesn't go away. If that's your sole access, or even if that is how you access your house primarily, even though there's another access on the barn side, you still retain a right of way where the old road was. That is protected under state statute. Any person whose sole means, already did that. If the highway is not designated as a trail, it shall belong to the owners of adjoining lands. If it's located between the lands of adjoining property owners, it's split down the middle. That doesn't matter here because when I did the title search downstairs, the road in its entirety was laid out on that lot. It was never straddling the line between that lot and the White Hill lot, which goes down through the brook there. It was never straddling that line. It's entirely on the Robinson lot.
Right.
So you would.
The whole 200 feet, Will?
The whole 200 feet of the right of way.
Robinson lot?
Yes. That was what I found in the descriptions on the title deeds
Now, there's
downstairs.
some of that road that Fournier's are on, that goes on Fournier, that borders Fournier's property also.
That's on the Barnett side though.
No, they have Waterford property. That road goes up to their line. Their line crosses the road, so there is some road that is on the Fournier property.
Not.
That's what I'm saying.
There is, yeah.
David, yeah. David's had his hand up for a
Dave
while.
Morrison, one of the possible reasons that Jim and Will aren't finding what they really think. Speaking of very new development, Stan probably, he mentioned Lucian Rush here. name that I've forgotten, didn't know it well, but it's back there in history. That was somebody's pasture or field, or it might have been part of the White Hills, I don't know. But they're all little ranches, so this is so new that you're not gonna find, like the Hastings Road, which used to be a very important road in Waterford at one time. It's new, they're little ranches. The historical perspective is, you're not gonna find history because it ain't there. It was pasture or field or something like that.
Okay.
Well, what are you hoping to do tonight?
Well, so essentially as a board, we have a decision to make whether this is something we want to explore more. The argument, the benefit to us in, discontinuance or reclassification would be, a reduction in maintenance costs or a reduction in potential, safety issues with pulling in and out of there on that blind part of Route 5.
What about the easier solution, which would be to ask the guy who's currently plowing the rest of the road what he would charge to do our 200 feet?
Well, are we able to do that? Are we able to have a private contractor maintain some of our, class 3 roads?
Daryl's an approved vendor in Waterford.
If we signed a contract or made a contract with him. And as a matter of fact, I'm meeting with him tomorrow morning, so I could ask him.
Ask him what he would charge us.
Yep.
Well, that's informal, but I like that starts the process.
He owes me one.
It ain't too bad to go see it. Yeah, so.
Okay, what does,
This is one possibility, right? Is discontinuing or reclassifying. Again, like you said, the contractor is another possibility. But if we want to consider this possibility, then this is the way the process is done.
I vote for easy right now.
Okay, can I just say one more thing?
yes, yeah, go ahead.
I've been there coming into August, it'll be 9 years. And I have only that first year, I bought it in August, that 1 year I have had our road graded. We have not had a grader come off that road in nearly almost 9 years.
Is it time?
The only time that Waterford does anything with that road is in the winter. So when you're talking about grading it, it hasn't happened since I bought the property.
Well, that's because he can't.
Well, but that's what he had brought up though, like, well, how you get the grader up there and.
We used to grade it once a year.
Used to get.
Right, but that hasn't been in 9
Yeah,
years.
but you can't go through there.
Right, which is,
Can
I
you
mean,
tell
but
us
instead, that was 3 years ago, that had been discontinued. But still, there was 4 years prior to that the grader could go up there before Barnett had said, no, you can't go up there anymore.
So you're saying the road on the Barnett side was a town highway at one point?
No, but they had used to go all the way up and take care of that road as Waterford do it all. That very first year, that hasn't been done. So when you had talked about grading, like that's not anything really to discuss about because that hasn't been done anyway. Winter is the only time that Smith Road ever gets done.
True, but it's worth a theoretical discussion at least, because if it's a class 3 road, the town has an obligation under our policy to maintain it in the summer as well, including grading and addressing, crowning and runoff, et cetera. So if we were to maintain that to class 3 standards as is a class 3 highway, we would have to grade it.
Well, it hasn't been done.
True.
Tim, I move that we table the discussion at least tonight, see what kind of numbers we can get from Jim to pawn off our obligation to plow it in the winter. I hear the summer discussion might be a little bit further involved, but that's what I move for the time being.
Does anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor of tabling this until Jim can get some numbers for plowing and sanding in the winter, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, Next up, Hudson Road.
So this probably much quicker.
I hope you're right, but I doubt it.
It should be. So there's a.
Could, Dave and, you could,
Thank you.
thanks, Stanley.
Thanks so much.
There's a corner on Hudson Road, Jim's very familiar with it. There's a tremendous amount of accidents. I brought it up earlier, I think at a board, we discussed it. This year, since mid-December, we're at 4 accidents on this corner.
Wow.
To now. Some are no injury, some are injury. Earlier this summer, there was a young kid that he's very lucky. He got severely injured on that corner. And it's nothing to do with road conditions or anything like that. The other day, the roads were fine and she decided I'm leaving like a row of trees because yes, this does border my property because it stops them.
The trees.
So what I did talk to Jim about maybe signs might help, just a couple arrows, because unfortunately the Google Maps sends people that road, has ever since the floods. So it sends them, it's kind of like a shortcut. We've tried to change that. I don't think that's gonna work. So my hope is that we can put up some sort of sign, the arrows, 2 arrows, and hopefully slow people down. There is speed signs. We know that doesn't work, but maybe some arrows to at least warn them. And like I said, I did discuss that with Jim, and I think we have some,
And
right?
is
Oh,
the
I
speed
agree with you
35?
100%.
It's 35 there,
It's,
yeah.
it's people just, all of a sudden out of the blue, they're going off there left and right. They did last year, same thing. An older lady the other day, she went off there.
Yeah.
She claimed that she got forced off the road by somebody else. But, you know, I think that I'd even flatten that corner out. I have taken the crown out of that, so to speak, in order to try and help alleviate that. But nothing seems to work because they're going off there left and right.
I
So,
think it was 12 last summer.
yeah,
Is this the corner you're talking about right in here?
Yep, right there.
Yep.
yeah, so I don't think that, I think signage would, I mean, it's a start.
Try
Put
something.
signage up and go from there. What else were you gonna do?
Now, you mentioned arrow signs. You're referring to like the standing on 2 poles on the side of the road. You're not referring to like chevrons on the guardrail?
No, there is no guardrail there, just like, it's a single pole sign, I think even,
Right.
with just an arrow.
Right.
So it
It's a good size
indicates-
arrow,
Right.
corner arrow.
Give them a heads
Yeah.
up.
I drove that road a couple days ago, and I agree. It's
One spot.
something if you're not paying attention or you're not from around and you take that the first time going downhill at speed, it's scary. My question would be, I think this is necessary. We had a gentleman in here at one of the November meetings, I believe, who talked about a corner on Lower Village Road.
Michaud.
Yes. That corner has the chevron signs. Does it also have a warning sign that like there's a
I think
curve?
I think it has one big arrow on that one as well. But I would think, or I would suggest that even sharp curve ahead or with an arrow around it, and then maybe one of those, or 2 of those arrow signs going up for around the corner. I don't think it would help. I don't think it would hurt.
Would it be needed from both directions or just from the downhill?
It doesn't seem to bother on the inside.
No, it's
Coming
usually
up.
coming down.
It's just coming down the hill.
So there's no guardrail there yet?
No, but I think people really get ahead of steam there. It's one of those, I think I agree, it sneaks up on you. You come down that hill, you're picking up a lot of speed, and then when you get into that corner, they usually will hang on a little bit, but then they're going so fast that they lose it right out through there, up in your property.
While we're talking about Hudson Road, where Hudson and Cross Road intersect, there's a really big pit on the corner there.
What?
A deep hole
Oh,
on the Cross Road, Hudson Road intersection. Have you noticed that it's, I have an 84-year-old aunt that lives on Hudson Road that side, and I'm always afraid for her to be driving anyways, but
Right.
that seems really scary, that there's no guardrail or even a cone that says, there's a big hole.
That's the original road.
That's the original road?
That's where the end of the culvert is, and that's where the road is.
Wow.
So for years, that road had been worked out, until it finally ended up caving in
Oh,
over the top of the pipe. So I took the excavator and I shaved it back to where it's existing, where it always was. But
oh,
it seems odd because it's not out where it used to be.
okay.
But
Cause it looks
that's
like a
actually-
really big hole right
Yeah.
at that corner
Yeah,
that
that's the
you
end of the
almost
culvert.
can drive right in it.
And I made it as steep as I could in order to try and retain as much surface, road surface as there was, but it is what it is. That's the original culvert, that's where the road should be.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
It does,
I'm really worried she's gonna take that corner and just, that car's gonna plunge
Yeah.
into the
No,
hole.
I just moved it back to where it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that, it wouldn't warrant guardrail or cone or any kind of
The only
warning?
thing that we could do would be to extend that pipe out in order to accommodate that corner. But it's a shock throughout time. Roads get wider and wider and wider.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, it was the same thing on Hale Road with Brian. You get to the point where they've worked out so far, that then when you pull them back,
it's a
everybody's
shock.
so used to seeing and accustomed to seeing them the way they are, they think that you just made it a one-lane road. Well, you didn't. You just pulled the edges back and
Right,
you put it back to where it belongs and where it should be.
right.
But it is a sticker shock for somebody that's been going there so long to see that narrow up to that extent. They're like,
Right.
oh my God, no, we didn't do anything drastic. We just moved the road back where it should be.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's just a really scary big pit right there on that
Yeah,
corner.
it's a deep hole.
So what about the curve?
You said you have you
I
have
have
this,
to get signage.
oh, you don't have it
No,
installed?
I don't have that stuff. I don't have the signs. I can have them made and I can get them.
Can you,
Cost-wise?
Excuse me?
Cost?
I would say probably around $100 a sign.
And we're talking 2 signs?
Well, we could go as much as 3 if you want a curved one and then the arrows. So you're talking $100 a sign, probably $75 for a pole. You're probably all pole, you're looking at another 40 for the base. So you're probably looking at a couple $100 per sign.
And then some town time to install
Yeah.
can you install them in the winter?
Accident.
I don't know if that's froze or not right
Can
now.
you put a price on that?
If it isn't,
Well, no,
then
that's my point.
obviously we probably could get them in. If it is froze, we'd have to wait until spring.
them? So, board question more than anything, but it sounds like if it's a known accident spot, the board would be a little bit remiss and potentially liable for not taking steps to increase the safety and warning of that corner. It sounds like this could be a fairly inexpensive insurance policy for the town.
Well,
If people follow it.
Well, we're not
We can do-
responsible for people
The road
following
hasn't,
anything.
the road hasn't changed it. I think
Signs,
it's people
signs are
driving
budgeted.
it. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
So what's
Exactly.
the discussion?
Right.
They're budgeted,
Let's
so
just do
if
it.
we need a sign, it's in the
Yep.
budget, so buy it.
There's a FAFO principle at work here, but I think the town can take at least a little step to warn the corner better.
Exactly. That's why we're having the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree 100%. We were talking about that, but
And we briefly went back to the corner on Lower Waterford Road by the Misha. Do we know, does that need,
The same.
there's guardrails
Treatment.
around that corner.
yeah, I know there is.
It's just people, then again, it's speed, people going excessively fast and they're plopping off the side of that in that wet ditch.
Does it
Before
warrant,
they get to the guardrail.
does it warrant the same
No,
type of
after.
signage that
After?
we're talking about on Hudson?
Excuse me?
Does it warrant the same type of signage that we just talked about for
I think
Hudson?
there is a sign there on that. I think so. I think there is. But there's a guardrail section right around that corner. They're just coming around there so fast that then when they get to the end of the guardrail, they just plop and, you know, it happens periodically there. One of the worst one is beyond their house, going down on the Barnett side, people wreck there all the time.
Robin?
So just what about those, does Vermont allow it, those solar, those signs that are powered by solar that flash red lights? Cause that always makes me hit my brakes.
Those, I looked at those when we were discussing the Michauds. Those cost north of $1,000 each.
Oh, they're expensive.
They're very expensive. Yeah.
Sure, but how many accidents?
It was over 10 last year and then 4 since December. It's a lot.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
The only reason I mentioned the cost is our sign budget is $2,500, might even be as low as.
$2,500.
Yeah, so one of those signs would, there goes half of your sign budget. So,
David?
I'll have, Dave Morrison, I'll have to drive this section to refresh my memory. Why isn't it applicable to guardrails? Expense or, that would at least keep people in the road.
How much do guardrails cost?
Yeah, that's expensive, but why isn't this site, why wouldn't guardrail fix the problem?
It probably would, Dave. I just brought up the signs for monetary reasons.
They're gonna run into the guardrail.
Yeah, gonna run into the guardrail.
Still gonna run into the guardrail.
The trees are staying.
What's the duty of care in a situation like this? Can anybody address that? What's the proper duty of care in a corner that's now known to cause people to fly off the road?
Science, people gotta learn to drive right.
Well,
it's not,
5 miles an hour.
if anybody wants to try and make the town liable for that, there is no problem with our maintenance. We only assume so much liability. We maintain the roads properly, we grade the roads properly. We cannot drive vehicles for people. They have
That's
to
my
assume.
point.
They have to
There's
assume
a level of personal responsibility,
That's
but
right.
what's the duty of care to properly warn that there's a tricky corner coming up?
Sign.
duty of care for us.
Speed limit and sign. Yeah,
Yeah.
when we're addressing the problem. We have recognized that there's a problem. Wade's brought it to our attention that there is a problem. That's why he put it on the agenda. So we're addressing the problem and we're gonna get signage or whatever you choose. You know, to alleviate.
My question goes beyond that, like signs, of course, that makes sense, but do we owe a duty of care to put a guardrail in on that corner?
No.
That is entirely up to the board.
I don't think that that's necessary. I think
They're going off on the other
They're
side.
gonna
of
run
the
into
road.
the guardrail anyway.
we have a speed
They're gonna
limit
run
sign.
into
Smash
guardrail or-
Yeah, okay.
The function
Still gonna
of
have
a
an accident.
the function of a guardrail generally is to prevent, a drop. Like
Worst
if there was a severe drop off there.
I get all of that.
So there's no drop off on that corner, it's just trees.
Wave
So-
trees.
Yes, wave trees or whatever in the right of way.
Now, if we could get Wade to cut his trees and flatten that slope, they'd have a run out there. Yes, sir.
Jim's seen it, that's all.
We need to do a truck escape ramp there.
To get back to your question though, Tim, as far as guardrails go, we have to assess, is that an appropriate use of guardrails? And if so, then does that mean we have to put guardrails on every sharp corner in town, whether or not there's a drop? Yeah.
If they were taking the corner too fast and going over a bank, that's a guardrail situation. They're taking the corner too fast and going across the road and into Wade's property, which isn't a guardrail situation.
I think signage would be perfect.
I think so.
I agree.
But I think we ought to, you seemed unsure of the other situation, and maybe we ought to just maybe take a look at it to see if it does need more signage in the other situation.
Which one are you referring to now?
Michaud on Lower Waterford.
Waterford? Is that the one right at the inlet in the lake?
No, that's this way, where that big,
It's just,
where the big pipe is, the big pipe, just before their house.
When you're coming from the Waterford side, Tim, it's the first big left-hand turn that you encounter. If you keep going, there's more sharp turns. Those sharp turns are on the Barnett side. It's that first turn.
Yeah, it's right at the town line, right by the town line.
all right. Are we done with that?
We're gonna come back to that next meeting for signs, or are we gonna vote on signs tonight?
Well,
He's gonna,
that's just-
put 'em up. It's
we
part
just
of his
asked.
regular-
That's fine. Really.
Okay. Citizens concerns. Yes, Marcel.
There was an incident at the town garage, December 11th. One of the trucks hit the gas pump, tore the hose off. Is there gonna be an accident report filed? Per our policy, anytime there's damage to town vehicle, town property, you have to have an accident report in 24 hours.
So has one been filled out?
No, there hasn't yet.
This December 11th, Jim, this was when you were on your leave of absence at this
I
point,
was
right?
not there. I wasn't present.
Mhm.
And the work crew, they did not contact me. They didn't inform me of anything that took place. So I didn't have any knowledge whatsoever of what happened until the bill was submitted. He told me that he ran into the cement block, and in turn the cement block fell on the hose, and it uncoupled the breakaway section from the hose. That was the damage that took place.
If it had been reported, would it have been covered by insurance?
No, I don't believe it. It's a $200.
Well, problem is, if something ever happens down the road and they find out that, well, geez, this was run into, we've got a leaky tank, we're responsible for it.
You know, it didn't take it.
It doesn't matter, Jim.
Right.
You've got-
My
you've
point
got to
is
look
that
at-
we will file- My point is, we will get an accident report, even though it didn't happen 24 hours like you said, which is town policy. And I'm well aware what the town policy is.
Yeah.
And I'm also telling you that I was not present.
No.
I had no knowledge whatsoever of what took place. So he took it upon himself, he even paid for it himself.
Which was against purchasing policy because he is not an agent.
Did you explain that to him?
No, I didn't know anything about it till his wife brought it in to be paid.
That's right, and neither did I. So it's kind of hard to explain to somebody all the stuff you're talking about when I didn't have any knowledge of it. That's my point.
Yeah, and that's fine. The town
So-
policy wasn't followed, but you just said you were gonna write an accident report.
We're gonna have an accident report filled out. He's
Okay.
gonna fill out an accident report. And I had a discussion with the gentleman. I had a discussion with both of them. And I explained to them, which I had told them when I went on leave, if anything happens, let me know. They failed to do that.
Mhm.
So I had a discussion with them. This was a learning experience that in the future, if we have an issue, we've got a certain protocol that we have to follow.
Yep.
And they were both, it's fine, everything's good.
All right.
It does seem to me like you have the situation under control. When can we expect the accident report, just for formality's sake?
I'll have him fill one out tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I got a question. Jim, when did you have information about this incident?
I learned about it just before the slip was turned in.
Which was when?
2 weeks ago,
What, when was that?
2 weeks ago.
It was probably, when did you send me that information?
We all saw an email.
When did we have that discussion?
It couldn't have
Was it a
been
week
more
ago?
than last week.
Week and a half ago? That's when I think I learned about it.
Yeah, I do remember that. But I guess my question is, if it was even a week and a half ago, why are we still talking about whether an accident report is yet to be written up?
It's supposed to be, according to personnel policy, it's supposed to be done in 24 hours after an incident takes place. We were way outside the scope of that.
I
And
understand.
technically, there was no damage as far as hazard. It was a $200 mistake.
It was still damage to town property. And if we ignore policy now, we might as well throw all the policies right out the window.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't followed. They're gonna write up an accident report. It should have been done
Yep.
as soon as you found out about it, but we're beyond that. Let's just get it done tomorrow, like you said, and let's move on.
I agree. It seems like a mountain is being made out of a molehill here.
Yes, David.
Citizen concern, Dave Morrison. I came in with one and I got 4 here, but Robin can help with one of them. I noticed her blurb in front porch about the food shelf, so to speak. Where is it in the building and?
Right there, the select board has nothing to do with it. It's not relevant to the select board.
It's right there. There's a sign out.
It's hard to see perhaps from where you're sitting, Dave. There's a fridge back here by this window next to where Hannah's sitting.
Okay. I just want to know what it was.
No, that's fair.
Between Jim and Gary, the term shared water was, those two words were mentioned. And I got to thinking about this building, and if you are aware of the history and the current situation of the water and how it was tied in with the church in different forms over the years, and what responsibility you might have now, do you even know what our source is right now?
Weren't they talking about the fire department and the?
They're on a shared drill well.
Right, but he's talking
Right
about
now,
this.
Yeah, but
out in this front corner, there's a drilled well by a large stone property marker that is your source right in this building now.
okay,
And it was tied in with the church. That's current. If the history matters to you at some point, you're all watching your watches, so
yeah, we got,
I know you don't
still
wanna
got stuff to do.
get into that too heavy tonight. Gary would know more about this item here. Stan Robinson mentioned this about how they paid and paid and paid ahead for their nice town hall job down there on Church Street. This goes back probably before Gary, back to Ed Bates' era, where we used to, the highway, this is highway department, how they used to charge themselves for every job, and that put money away so that when you needed to buy a grader or a truck or whatever, the money was there, and it seemed to work great back then. I have minimal understanding of it, but Gary might have been on far enough back to know about this. I think it'd be worth checking into. I don't know if Jim has any knowledge of how it used to work or not.
Yeah, they paid themselves, they had to go and rent for all the equipment.
Right, probably not tonight. What I came in with, and this is, seeing you two are the road commissioners, this is a highway thing, and I don't know why somebody didn't think about it before. Down here on Lower Waterford Road, where Duck Pond comes in, you've got a stop sign at the bottom of this hill where there's a lot of trucking going on. Now, I spent a lot of my life driving trucks, so I am sensitive to trucking issues. This is a real easy fix with permission from the state if you have to get it. You take out the stop sign at the foot of Duck Pond where you come on to Lower Waterford, because that's a real bitch for truckers. Even with Jake's now, the town comes down there a lot, Fenoff comes down there a lot. You gotta, to do it safely, you gotta stop, but you gotta turn kind of half right to see people coming up Low Waterford. If you make the stop road, the Waterford coming from Cushman Bridge towards us, flat, minimal truck traffic coming out of Waterford Springs. So you put that stop sign on the other side, you get a stop sign right near Cushman Bridge, said stop ahead, because this is gonna be a change for people that have done the way they've done for their lifetime. You put a yield sign on this road going that way, just before Duck Pond, so that they have to yield for trucks coming, or anybody coming down Duck Pond onto Lower Waterford Road. So you've got two new signs, one used sign. The soil's gonna be thawed out before you can do this. Marcel, when I mentioned this to Marcel earlier in the day, he thought it would have to have state approval. Jim and I were just talking about it, maybe state approval or maybe not. But I think that would solve a whole lot of hardship for the truckers, coming down that hill, because there's no need in making them stop when a car on a flat road would be the one to stop. Thank you, that's my proposal.
Okay, thanks.
Just that, I think I missed it, but,
Yeah, you'd have to stop, you live in
no, that's fine. I don't care about that, but, you would need a stop sign heading towards Barnett at the bottom of Duck,
No,
on Lower
the
Waterford
only
Road.
stop sign would be coming this way, just this side of Cushman Bridge. But I would suggest two signs, one right where you need to stop. And one, because it's gonna be a change and we get used to what we get used to.
Yeah, but you haven't taken care of the traffic that's coming down Lower Waterford Road and continuing to the Cushman
That's
Bridge.
the yield sign,
Okay,
that's the yield sign.
all right.
Yeah, it's not.
Please take it under advisement, thank
Yep.
you.
Any other, Kathy?
I'd just like to point out that the board continues to be in violation of posting minutes on time. One was 5 weeks, one was 6 weeks, November was late. This is in complete violation of section 312. Mr. Jones continues to quote statutes, and this is the statute, and I will read it. That minutes shall be, they can include, like Mr. Yarrow said, be minimal. All members of the public board present, all other active participants in the meeting, all motions, proposals, and resolutions made, offered, and considered, and what disposition was made of same, and the results of any votes with a record of the individual vote of each member if a roll call is taken. Minutes of all public meetings shall be matters of public record, shall be kept by the clerk or secretary of the public body, and shall be available for inspection by any person and for purchase of copies at cost upon request after 5 calendar days of the meetings. Meeting minutes shall be posted no later than 5 calendar days from the date of the meeting to a website if one exists. And this continues to happen. And I'd like a resolution made, if Hannah's not here, whoever's taking the minutes, that even if they're minimal, they have to be posted within 5 days. You continue to be in violation. It happened in August, November's were not posted on time, and now December's are not posted in time. And it does not look good for the select board or for the town of Waterford.
Okay, yep, I agree. And I'll take the responsibility for some because there have been times when we've had meetings that I thought were gonna be pretty short, and I said, Hannah, you don't really need to come. Hannah couldn't come for personal reasons for a couple of meetings there, last 3, and but we still should have gotten them out in time, but I will try not to make the mistake of excusing Hannah if she's available to be here, because rarely, if ever, have we missed with Hannah.
I appreciate the nobility of you falling on your sword, Ron, but I'm more than happy to fall on my sword here. The last 3 meetings were entirely my fault that they took that long for me to compile. I'm aware that was in violation of state statute. This is not a new issue in town. This happened on numerous occasions last year where minutes were not posted for weeks. That doesn't excuse it, but you know, I'll own that one.
Okay. Thanks. Anything else?
If you move on to the next one, I've got a request.
Agenda for next meeting.
Agenda items for next meeting?
Yeah.
What would you like?
Yeah, I would like to chat with you some more officially about this water thing, because you may have some responsibility now that the church is in private ownership and we don't know what's gonna happen if Josh sells it to the Rabbit Hill or whatever. What the town's obligation is, since you're currently supplying the church, in effect. You turned on all the right things, you'd have water in the church. Faucets down here, faucets over there, I believe it's your pump. But it's your well now, but that's not how it used to be. But if you want to put that on another agenda, I'll be glad to explain it to you. The history of it.
Okay, so is there something in the No, I don't wanna ask them.
Yeah, let's not.
You wanna go home, I
Next
know you
time.
wanna go home.
No, well, we got other
We have
business
other
after.
business.
Yeah, I understand. So I'll,
Yeah,
I
okay.
won't belabor it
Put
tonight.
an item, town
Put it on
office
next
water.
month.
We'll look into it.
Yeah, well, yep, okay, any other items?
So the other things, you have the MOUs for emergency shelter locations.
Yep.
We tabled the discontinuance of Smith Road, but it is worth again pointing out that if our next meeting's not until February, I won't be there.
Can you attend remotely?
I cannot, I'm gonna be out of the country, I won't have access to cell service.
We didn't give you permission to go.
So we can table that further. We can
Yeah, I mean, there's
push
nothing
it
we
to the
can.
new board and then you and Tim worry about it.
I'm okay with that, also because part of the thing we have to do is survey the road, since it's never been surveyed before, you can't do that when there's snow on the ground, so.
Next meeting,
Mhm.
whenever Will can be there.
Yeah.
Around
Town
the,
garage.
town garage, yeah.
What else?
Did we wanna do anything with the Lower Village Road corner? The signage over there?
Oh, yeah, yeah, maybe,
Just so that like we can provide an update, doesn't have to be a
Yep.
long discussion.
anything else?
I'm sure between now and
Yeah,
5 days before this, we're gonna figure something out.
I thought this one was gonna be fairly short, not short, but
Nice try.
it wasn't nearly as long as I thought it was.
Oh, was Roger gonna get back to us on BT alert? Cause he was gonna do the training for that. I guess that can
That's
be
with
an
the
email.
new select board
New
also.
select.
Okay, that can be an email. Yep. Okay,
Good thinking, Sue. Okay, executive session,
I'll make a motion to enter executive session.
I'll say that.
and,
Did we vote?
oh. All those in favor of going into executive session, personnel, say aye.
Aye.
9:08 PM, Hannah.
Those opposed?
Keep on trucking, Jim.
And